Act 1990 as amended. This meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Zahir Bryat, and I will be chairing today's session. Panel members today are Gary McKay, Ann Crawford, Peter Reid, Philip Ghosh, and Secretary-Treasurer is Nicole Ivanov. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in a hybrid, in-person, and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. When your item is called, you'll be unmuted by the moderator. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons, and public bodies are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. Today, I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with a presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5 minutes. Any presentation or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee on the application. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Okay. Ready to go. Okay. So we have item number 19.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So I'll state for the record, there are no files to be closed or withdrawn this afternoon. And with respect to declarations of interest for this afternoon's agenda, I see none from staff. However, Member Reid.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Number 31, 40 Chester is, I'm friends with the owners, so I'll be stepping out for that.
Thank you. And through the chair, in terms of deferrals for this afternoon's agenda, we have two deferrals. The first deferral is item number 19, municipal address of 782 Spadina Road, consent file number B0077/25TEY. Associated minor variance application file numbers A0934/25TEY, A0935/25TEY, and file number A0936/25TEY. This is with respect to improper signage. And then through you, Mr. Chair, the second deferral request we have this afternoon is item number 21, municipal address of 619 Lansdowne Avenue, file number A0614/24TEY. And when we are ready for that item, the agent will explain that deferral request. But we can start with item number 19.
Thank you very much. Okay, item number 19 is, this is 19 A, B, C, and D. The address is 782 Spadina Road. The consent requested is to obtain consent to sever the property into 3 undersized residential lots and to create new easements, rights of way. Purpose of the applications to construct a new 4-story attached apartment building with front porches, front and rear basement walkouts, front and rear balconies located on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th levels, front and rear rooftop terraces, and a rear ground floor deck. There will be a total of 6 residential dwelling units on this lot. 2 units will occupy the basement level, 2 units will occupy the 1st level, and 2 units will occupy the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th levels. The committee had before it the following communication: copy of draft revised plan of survey, copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of the subject property, covering letter from the owner, email correspondence from the owner, 1 photograph of public notice signs that did not meet size requirements, 4 photographs of late public notice signs, tree plan prepared by Craig Grace Architecture, site-specific zoning bylaw numbers affecting the subject property, and we also have email correspondence from the assistant planner, community planning. We have staff reports from development engineering and urban forestry and Metrolinx. We also have correspondence in opposition from 45 items of correspondence from the same address, 45 Gardner Road.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online and 5 registered speakers online.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Mr. Kotoff, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Just a little bit on the, if you can just ramp up your volume a bit.
Absolutely, how's that?
Perfect, that's great. Thank you so very much. Thank you. So we have a deferral request from you with regard to signage. Would you like to just give us a brief explanation of what went right, what went wrong? And the request for the deferral.
Staff requested that I request the deferral as a result of signage. I don't think it would be a good use of time to go over all the back and forth pertaining to that, but given that we were told that this was going to be brought up, we didn't want to have a hearing about signage rather than the merits of the application.
Perfect, thank you. What we'll do is just speak to the folks that are in opposition and make them aware of your request and just get their response. It's either yes or no response, and then we move forward from there. So bear with us, thank you. And if we can go to whoever's first in line.
Brian, you've been unmuted.
Hi there. Brian Sepler from 45 Gardner Road, and happy to grant the deferral and reconvene once the proper signage has been up and timelines have been respected.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll move on to the next person.
Hello?
Carolyn, you've been unmuted.
Thank you. I have no problem with the deferral. I just have a question, if I may.
At this point, all we want is a yes or no to the deferral.
But can I ask a question that would inform that?
You can ask it. I don't guarantee you'll get an answer.
Fair enough. I
Okay.
wonder, with the deferral, will there be another opportunity for people to write letters in or does everything stand as it is in the file today?
Absolutely, you'll have the opportunity to do that.
Okay, then I have no objection.
Thank you kindly.
And
Thank
through
you.
the chair, just for the record, given that the reason for deferral is automatic due to signage, improper signage, we can have the deferral rescheduled to the June 3rd hearing.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next person.
Allison, you've been unmuted.
Yes, I'm also okay with the deferral. Thank you.
Thank you kindly. Do we have any more folks? Yeah.
Stuart, you've been unmuted.
Yes, I'm okay with the deferral.
Thank you very much. Any other folks?
Patricia,
I'm okay with the deferral as well. It's Patricia Title.
Thank you very kindly. All right, I think that's the entire list.
through you, Mr. Chair, yes.
Thank you so very much. Okay. Mr. Kotov, you've heard the responses, so we'll take it into committee. And I'll look for a motion for deferral. Mr. Reid, thank you very much.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, to allow for proper and legal posting of the application, I'll move that we defer.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Oops. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Ms. Crawford. I'm looking at Mr. McKay's hand. Thank you, Mr. McKay.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor of a deferral? Thank you. Great, thanks a lot. Mr. Kotov, you've got your deferral. Thank you.
Okay.
And now we move on to item number 20.
Through the chair, it's item 21, the very late deferral request that we received.
We've got item 20, Galbraith.
So the deferral request we will handle first for item
I beg your
21.
pardon.
Yes.
You're right. I beg your pardon. LANSDOWNE. Okay, item number 21. Item number 21 is 619 Lansdowne Avenue, and the purpose of the application is to alter the existing three-story detached dwelling by constructing a rear three-story addition. There will be a total of 4 residential dwelling units on this lot. 3 dwelling units currently exist. Also to permit 2 tandem parking spaces in the rear yard abutting the laneway. The committee had before it the following communication: copy of the minutes from the September 25th, 2024 public hearing, copy of plan of surveys, revised site plan, floor plans and elevations, covering letter from the agent. We have an arborist report. We have email correspondence between the agent and urban forestry. We have staff reports from urban forestry, also from Metrolinx and Transportation Review. We have correspondence in opposition from 621 Lansdowne Avenue, 617 Lansdowne Avenue, 615 Lansdowne Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online, 1 registered speaker online, and 3 speakers here in person.
Thank you very much. Hello, Ms. Khalil, are you there? And Alia Khalil, are you there?
Mohammed Brayjoun, you've been unmuted. Through you, Mr. Chair, we're having problems connecting with the agent. I can try to call them if you like.
Please, let's see if we can. Thank you.
Hello, Mohammed. We've called you. Can you please try and speak on the phone?
Yeah, I'm here. You can hear me?
Yes, we can. Could we get your name and address, please?
It's Mohammed Freedoon, calling on behalf of Nadia, Khalil Design, for 619 Lansdowne Avenue.
Thank you very much. You've requested deferral. It's come rather late, so we were just waiting for you to give us a sense of the reasons for your request.
Yeah, we had a hearing back in 2024, and we had some items to work on, and we did work on that. But unfortunately, yesterday, we received a communication from transportation that the lot has to be reduced, the size of the lot has to be reduced. And we didn't have that communication before. And that reduction in the size of the lot, we were afraid will affect other variances like the floor space index or something like that. We have to do our drawings, we revise them and send them again to the zoning and see. I tried to contact zoning since yesterday. I didn't receive any response from them. So I don't know if it's still acceptable or no. So we want to make sure that it's acceptable, or if there is any other variances to be added, we can get that addressed now.
So it's almost a snowball effect, one request and as yeah. So it's a good idea, I think, for you to look for a deferral. So we'll go to the folks in opposition and inform them of your request. And we only require a yes or no from each of the folks in opposition. So we'll go to those folks first and then come back to you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the speakers here in person can come up to the podium.
Hi, good afternoon. Is that green light on the mic? Yep. Oh, good. Thank you. If you can get your name and address, and then there's only one question we need you to answer, and that is, are you in favor or not in favor of a deferral?
Okay. My name is Calvin Strawn, 615 Lansdowne Avenue.
Terrific. Are you in favor or not in favor of a deferral?
Not in favor.
Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on to the next person.
Jürgen Hoffman, 18 Hambley Avenue, owner of 621 Lansdowne.
And your answer to the question, yes or no?
Oh,
Thank you.
Jürgen Hoffman, 18 Hambley Avenue, owner of 621 Lansdowne Avenue. Not in favor of a deferral.
Thank you very much. And next person would be online, or is there somebody else in the audience that is here for this item?
Hello?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that's all the speakers in
In-house,
person. We have one speaker online. Brandon, you've been unmuted.
Hello, thank you.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm at 617 Lansdowne. And I also oppose the deferral.
Sorry, could you just state your name as well, please?
Yeah, Brandon Back.
Thank you. And you oppose. Thank you very much. Okay, is that it with folks in opposition? Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes.
Mohammed, you heard the folks in opposition. They would prefer to move ahead, but we'll take it into committee, and based on your request and the reasons for your request, have the committee deliberate and provide a decision for you. Okay.
Thank you.
Would like to weigh in. Mr. Ghosh?
It's interesting. We often get people in favor of a deferral because it means that the decision will be made another day. Those that are opposed are often in favor. In this case, it's the opposite. We have 3 people that are not in favor, which I also find quite understandable because people have taken their time to come here today. It's not easy to, find the time, and we especially do appreciate people being in person. So that's even more of an effort, but even more valuable to the committee. That being said, I think on balance, the fair thing to do would be to defer, because the applicant raises a good point that if we were to grant this application, if it were then to trigger more variances, that would just be 2 applications instead of 1, which ultimately doesn't help those opposed or the applicant if everyone has to come twice, plus a staff time and additional application fees. So with that risk, I think the applicant is making a good case to defer. And I'm happy to just move that unless anyone else would like to make comments.
Thank you. Mr. Reid?
Thanks, Chair. I echo Phil's comments. And I know the last time this was deferred, the applicant was asked to speak with the neighbors at 621. Obviously, there's significant opposition in the neighborhood, and so I think it would be helpful to reiterate that request, but also for the applicant to get in touch with the people specifically who came to this hearing to hear their concerns and see if they want to edit their proposal. So in the reasons, I think that would be helpful.
Mr. McKay, any thoughts?
No, I'm in agreement. It's important that we capture all the variances that are needed and really not make a decision today and then perhaps face yet another application. So I agree with my colleagues there that we'll defer. We should defer.
Would you like to turn that into a motion, Mr. McKay?
Yes, Chair, thank you. All right, I'll move that the application for 619 Lansdowne Avenue be deferred. I'll just note that there's a urban forestry condition, so the applicant maybe can do some follow-up on that before it's back. Anyway, motion to defer.
Thank you very much. Do we have a second, Mr. Ghosh? Thank you very much. All those in favor of a deferral? Thank you. You have your deferral, sir. Thank you. Okay. And we go back to item number 20, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 20, ABC, is 18 GALBRAITH Avenue. The consent requested to obtain consent to to sever the property into 2 residential lots and to maintain an existing easement right-of-way. Purpose of the application is to construct a new 3-story detached building with front and rear basement walkouts, front and rear ground floor porches with stairs, front and rear story planter boxes, and front and rear 3rd-story balconies. There will be a total of 5 residential dwelling units on this lot. The committee had before it the following communication: copy of minutes from the April 1st, 2026 public hearing, copy of surveys, a revised site plan, floor plans and elevations, copy of draft revised plan of survey, a covering letter from the agent, lot frontage and area analysis prepared by the agent, copy of neighborhood meeting invitation letter by the agent, 1 photograph posted of a neighborhood meeting invitation, 2 3D renderings of the proposed bill from the agent, an arborist report, 1 photograph and email correspondence from the agent, shadow study from the agent, tree plants from the agent. We also have staff reports from urban forestry, correspondence in concern from 63 GALBRAITH Avenue, and opposition correspondence from 57 GALBRAITH, 90 Westview Boulevard, 235 Westview Boulevard, 20 GALBRAITH Avenue, 17 GALBRAITH Avenue, 128 Furnival Road, and 102 signature petition in opposition signed by Topham Park community members and owners of properties on GALBRAITH, Alder Road, Amsterdam Avenue, Ayers Crescent, Dale Crescent Drive, Furnival Road, Gardens Crescent, Merritt Road, Peard Road, Blackstone Drive, Tiago Avenue, Topham Road, Victoria Park Avenue, Westview Boulevard, and Yardley Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online, 1 speaker here in person, and 4 other speakers online.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Amu, are you there?
Yeah, it's me here, Pamir.
Hi, good afternoon. We'll need a presentation because we have a lot of folks in opposition.
Yep.
And you have 5
Should
minutes.
we go?
Yep, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. My name is Pamir, for the record. My address is 443 Highside Drive in Milton. I'd like to say good afternoon to Mr. Chair and all the community members. And this is the 3rd hearing. The last time we had a deferral with the main reason pointed out being the insufficiency of the signage posting. However, this time we made sure the signs are posted properly. We had somebody check every day, if not every other day, to ensure that the signs are posted properly. So at that time of the last hearing, we were advised to reach out to the neighborhood and to prepare a lot frontage and lot area analysis. So what we did is we completed a lot frontage and lot area analysis. I'd like to say a couple quick things about that. So we studied the lot on we studied the street of GALBRAITH and a radius of 500 meters within the community, and we found that within that radius there are 26 lots which are either equivalent or very slight in variation, which is due to slight deviations in lot circumstances. But you see that they're all almost 7.62 meters in lot frontage. Maybe one of them is 7.63, but the lot areas are also almost identical. So we have precedence in the area of 26 lots, out of which 8 are on GALBRAITH. So with these 2 lots, if these 2 lots also get approved, it's going to be 10 lots on a street of 62 houses, which means that essentially almost every 6th lot on GALBRAITH will be on a 25-foot lot with the same or very similar lot area. Okay, so that's what we found. This document with the full analysis and more detail is also included in the supporting documents under lot frontage and lot area analysis, as you mentioned. So the other thing that we were told that we were requested to do is to do a neighborhood outreach. So what we did is we posted a note on the door of 66 neighbors, all of them on GALBRAITH, and whichever ones we had a record of within the neighborhood that had shown interest in this. So all of which received the opportunity to reach out to us. We had a lot we had a lot of response of interest, and at the hearing we had actually a number of people. I believe it was 7 people that showed up in person and 4 more people that showed up in the virtual meeting, in which we gave everyone the opportunity to discuss, express their concerns, and so we can hear their worries and concerns as well, give them clarification where we can, and give them additional information in the following time and today also. So the items that we were asked there during the hearing, during the community outreach meeting, was an arborist report and tree preservation plan, which we have prepared. It's included in the documents. A shadow study is included in the documents, and a 3D rendering and streetscape is also included in the documents, which was just displayed a little earlier. If you don't mind pulling it back up, that's on the PDF there. There was a couple of images. That's one of the items. That's one of the items that we had prepared as a conceptual 3D rendering with streetscape. We also received further emails after the community meeting, in which from which we addressed every question that we received. We addressed it to the best of our understanding, to the best of our knowledge, and anybody that requested any further information, we ensured to send it to them ahead of time. So also we increased the privacy, and we have a cover letter that outlines everything I just summarized here for you. That is the essence of my presentation. I'm sure there will be more that will be addressed in the questions. I'm happy to address any questions here and hope that we receive the support this time. Maybe we can pull up the community outreach summary. There's a document in there. If you can pull that up, you'll see.
Just to let you know that you're almost out of time.
Yeah, that's it. As long as you can pull it up, we see an image here, and if you scroll down, you can see a summary. There were more people joining virtually there, but if you scroll further down, you'll see a summary. That's all I have for now, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. We'll go to the folks in opposition, and then you'll be able to respond to their concerns. Thank you. Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair, there is a speaker in person, so they can come up to the podium now.
Perfect. Thank you. Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
Just make sure that the green light on your mic is on.
Yep, it's on. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Yes, we can. Your name and address, please, sir.
Yep, so my name is Ethan Tran. I'm 20 Galbraith, adjacent to 18 Galbraith.
Okay, you've got 5 minutes to make your case.
Right.
Thank you.
I just want to say good afternoon to the chair and the members of the committee. I just wanted to mention that I do support the city's housing goals. However, this is a 10-unit application, so it actually fails the 4 tests under Section 45(1) of the Planning Act. This is not a minor variance. It is a functional hardship to myself that renders my existing property infrastructure non-functional and ignores critical safety environmental protections. First, I'll talk about the setbacks. The developer is requesting a reduced side setback of 1.2 meters adjacent to my property. To address privacy, they initially proposed a fence. However, a fence at the setback physically obstructs my established right-of-way. You can see that on exhibit number 1, that my driveway is already narrow. So having a fence there would prevent me from safely opening up my car doors, making my driveway unusable. So you go up to the first letter, it's at the very top. Privacy, sorry. So privacy buffering and walkway etiquette. So bylaw zoning, bylaw 5692013, section 10.5.10.10. The city requires a visual barrier, typically around 2 meters, opaque fence, and soft landscape buffering for multi-unit developments adjacent to a single-family home. The developer now claims that they do not intend to put a fence based upon our recent meeting with them, but this leaves me exposed and all my private windows open for folks to walk through. It also includes a play area in my basement where my children play and will be exposed to high traffic walkways where people can just walk back and forth. It's in the exhibit in the photos. They also suggest that walkway etiquette will protect my privacy during that call. Etiquette is not an enforceable planning mechanism. Without a mandated 2-meter barrier, the development fails to mitigate overlook as required by the official plan, policy 3.1.2.3. They do have an arborist report, which requires plywood protection barriers to occupy the space during construction. My question would be, how would these protective barriers work with the adjacent property to the daycare? That would not require removal of the current safety fence that's in place, protecting the children and keeping them safe from the street elements, but also how would it prevent causing damage to the daycare's only play area for our community church? Furthermore, they intend to place an HVAC equipment on raised brackets in a narrow 1.2 canyon. This is an emergency egress, I believe, maintained when the path is blocked by machinery. How would emergency services navigate this narrow passageway? In addition, the canyon effect that would be created would trap heat and noise from potentially 10 air conditioning units directly adjacent to my daughter's bedroom. Destruction in urban canopy and shadowing. The developer claims that shadow impact is non-existent. This is factually incorrect. Their own shadow study confirms that at 9 a.m. on the equinox, 100% of the adjacent trees to the daycare will be enshadowed. This permanent shadow combined with the building's length of 17.3 meters will kill the established vegetation and mature trees that currently manage our stormwater. As in exhibit number 4, the applicant site plan fails to document 8 mature trees adjacent to the property line. Excavation of a 1.2 meter setback would inevitably sever the roots, violating Municipal Code Chapter 813. Urban Forestry, in their letter, has recommended denial in their item number 5 of their report. It also, in conclusion, I'd like to say that this is not a minor variance. There's a multiplier effect that takes place when you consider the height, the length, and the reduced setbacks that this creates, as well as the impact to Topham Park, which is a low-rise community and not a dense canyon complex. We respectfully request the committee to refuse this application. At a minimum, it must be deferred until the applicant provides a revised site plan accounting for the 8 site trees, as well as the privacy and buffer plan that does protect my privacy on my lot and complies with the City of Toronto bylaws.
Thank you very much. Great timing.
I tried. Thank you.
Let me just see if my colleagues have any questions for you at this point. None? Mr. McKay, any questions? None? Okay. Thank you so much. We'll have the agent hopefully will give you some responses to your questions. Thank you. Okay. And moving on to...
Through you, Mr. Chair, now we have online speakers.
Okay.
Dylan, you've been unmuted.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good afternoon. And you get your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Dylan Matin, and I am located at 235 Westview Boulevard.
Thank you very much. You have 5 minutes to make your case.
Yep, thank you. I'm the owner and resident of 235 Westview Boulevard. My property directly abuts the rear of 18 GALBRAITH Avenue. I'm here to reiterate my objection to this application. I've submitted a letter of objection with some photos. Despite multiple rounds of review, including 2 hearings and the community meeting, the proposal remains materially unchanged, and my key concerns around privacy and outlook have not been addressed. The application is seeking significant relief from fundamental zoning standards, including roughly a 37% reduction in both lot frontage and lot area, and 65% site setback reduction. These are not minor variances, they are core elements that define the character and density of the neighborhood. The proposal is effectively trying to fit an overly intensive development onto undersized lots, which is why so many additional variances are required. From my perspective as a rear lot neighbor, the most critical issue is privacy. The proposal still includes 3rd-story rear-facing balconies and windows that directly overlook my backyard and into my house, including bedroom spaces. There's no buffer, no street, no separation, just a direct elevated line of sight into my property. I want to emphasize that I've raised this concern repeatedly the last 2 hearings and during the community meeting. Despite this, there's still no privacy screens. They have not added a privacy screen towards my house, no design revisions, and no meaningful mitigation measures included in the proposal that's before you today. This is a fundamental and permanent impact on my ability to use and enjoy my home. In addition, the cumulative massing of the proposal, combined with reduced setbacks and increased height, create an overbuilt conditions that further amplifies overlook and shadow impacts. On the topic of shadowing, the applicant has now submitted a shadow study. However, it contains no written analysis or conclusions. It's just a series of images. More importantly, the study inaccurately represents my property. It shows my lot as if it was a vacant lot without my house. Basically, this significantly undermines the reliability of the study, as it does not reflect the real-world condition of the actual impact on my home or outdoor space. There are also outstanding concerns regarding drainage and stormwater management. No grading plan or technical studies have been provided to demonstrate that there will be no adverse impact on adjacent properties. Finally, I would note that the examples cited by the applicant as president in the area are not comparable. Those examples primarily are single-family homes, whereas the proposal introduces a multi-unit building with significantly greater density and impact. In my view, the application does not meet the 4 tests for minor variances. The variances are not minor, they are not appropriate for the site, and they do not maintain the intent of the zoning bylaw or the official plan. I respectfully request that the committee refuses the application. Alternatively, if the committee is considering approval, I strongly request the conditions be imposed at a minimum to eliminate or fully screen the rear-facing 3rd-story balconies and to require proper technical studies addressing shadow and drainage impacts. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Let me see if colleagues, anybody have a question for this gentleman? None? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the next person.
Heather, you've been unmuted.
Yes, thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon.
My name is Heather. Good afternoon. Thank you, everyone, for letting me speak. My name is Heather Fleck, and I live at 90 Westview Boulevard.
Thank you.
I have submitted 2 letters previously to the committee for the previous hearings and submitted a more detailed one on April 21st that has all my calculations and pictures that highlight a lot of my concerns. I'm just going to briefly touch on those because I think the other 2 community members have actually spoken on a lot of those terms already. Anyway, the first one's on the lot frontage and lot area analysis. To me, there's inaccuracies. I took the time to go and take pictures of the reference properties. You'll see that in my letter. And I discovered that there are 6 properties listed that are in fact only 3. So there's the first error. The second one is that they truly aren't comparable. They are all either two-story family single homes. They have front doors and small porches. They have a driveway and a garage for storage. They have frontage with soft landscaping that includes a tree. And one of them is a bungalow on a 50-foot lot. So there's another big mistake. The analysis is based on a 500-meter radius. It was my understanding that the standard analysis is on 150 meters. So when you use the standard radius, none of the properties listed on his report are included. And then the final note on that is that you will note that the analysis was not done by a professional company or consultant, and there's no signature on the report. So in my belief, that the analysis submitted was not valid. Second, there's errors and omissions on the site plan. It's already been noted that there are mature trees that run along the property line that aren't recorded. There's also problems with the basement apartments and the bedroom window egress window wells that don't meet the building code. Sorry, I'm nervous. The window wells are below grade. The windows are below grade, and they must have egress. So when you correct the measurements to meet code, which is in my diagrams that I provided, it actually shrinks the measurement from the property line to the window wells to 0.65 meters. And that creates a domino effect on all the code requirements for the side yard walkways. They don't meet the code for the barrier-free apartments at the back. They don't meet the code for moving and storing garbage in the back. And I just saw the site plan that he provided the renderings. It doesn't even show the second pathway that it's needed to the back of 18A. So those drawings aren't accurate either. Another point is the waste storage has been omitted from the site plan without sufficient access to the rear. The bins must be stored in the front. None of the properties in this area have that, and obviously will negatively affect the streetscape. But the really big one is the access to the rear apartments, especially at 18, with 18B Galbraith. The neighbor at 20 has already spoken, but that side yard walkway includes the right-of-way, and that has to remain clear and accessible at all times. That means that 18B Galbraith cannot erect a fence or a screen to contain pedestrian traffic to that property. So tenants, visitors, delivery people, all of them will use the driveway of 20 Galbraith to access the apartments in the rear. This deliberately creates a conflict with the neighbor at 20 because he will have people trespassing on his property at any time of day or night. It's not acceptable. So that points. Anyway, the applicant had told neighbors at the community meeting that they can build a fiveplex as of right. And sure, this is true, but they still need to abide by the zoning and building code requirements. They need the consent to sever, and they need to have the minor variances meet the 4 tests. Due to all the concerns we've filed and discussed, I believe the development does not meet these requirements. So I respectfully ask that the committee to decline this application. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker, folks? None? Okay, moving on. Let's move to the next person in line.
Daryl, you've been unmuted. Daryl,
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Daryl Wad, and I live at 25 Galbraith, immediately across the street from the subject property. Just before starting here, for reference, if the committee could please have open the community's joint letter of opposition with over 100 signatures, along with the, as previously mentioned, lot area analysis that was provided by the applicant. So I'm here to reiterate strong opposition to this application, both in terms of the substantive content and procedural issues that have arisen. As stated at several times at previous hearings, I believe this proposed development does not represent a responsible form of development for the community and fails to satisfy the 4-part minor variance test. I'd also like to remind the committee of the applicant's omissions up to this point, as I believe context is important for any committee members who were not previously at the last meetings. From the outset of this application process, the applicant submitted an incomplete application which failed to address required frontage variances. This prevented proper consideration at the initial hearing. Despite this, the application minimized this important issue and suggested that this meeting was going well, which was rejected by the committee at the last meeting. At the most recent committee meeting, the community identified another issue with respect to the property. This time, the applicant failed to satisfy the required notice signage requirements. Despite this, the applicant deflected responsibility and even insinuated that the community members may have interfered with such signs rather than accepting such responsibility. The committee also directed the applicant at each of the previous meetings to consult with the impacted community members, which a meeting was set up only days ago. And at this meeting, we understand that there was some misrepresentations to some of the neighboring residents, further undermining confidence in the information being presented. At the same time, key stakeholders were excluded from the opportunity to meet, despite the applicant's assertion that all community members were contacted. As parents from the adjacent daycare who are directly affected were not given an opportunity to participate at this meeting. Taken together, this reflects a lack of transparency and accountability throughout the entire process. On the planning merits, at the meeting on April 1st, the applicant asserted that severing the property into two 25-foot lots would better align with the existing fabric of GALBRAITH Avenue. In response, the committee directed the applicant to submit a neighborhood context report to substantiate this claim. The developer submitted a document described as an area analysis. However, it contains no supporting data, as previously mentioned, or methodology. It was not prepared by a qualified professional and includes several factual inaccuracies, as also identified by previous speakers. In Appendix I of this joint letter, you'll see that the report referenced 130A and 130B Yardley. However, this is a single-family home. This error could have been identified through basic site verification, indicating a lack of due diligence in assessing the neighborhood. Consequently, the report cannot be reasonably relied upon as credible or objective evidence. As also previously mentioned, even within the developer's own analysis, there are no truly comparable properties nearby. The report relies on a 500-meter radius, yet within that area, the closest comparable lot frontage is 250 meters away at 77 Galbraith, which likewise contains single-family homes. The report also fails to justify the requested height and setback variances, despite existing bylaws already allowing increased density. Finally, I want to emphasize that there have been no letters of support submitted at any point in this process from residents or any other stakeholders or impacted people. In conclusion, both the process and the proposal raise serious concerns for the community. The community does not believe this application has been presented in a credible, transparent, or well-supported manner, nor that it is consistent with the character of the neighborhood. For these reasons, we respectfully ask the committee to reject this application once and for all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ward. Let me see if my colleagues have any questions at this point. None? Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to the next person.
Anna, you've been unmuted.
Hi, my name is Anna Papadakos, and I'm at 23 Galbraith Avenue, the property directly across from 18.
Thank you. You have 5 minutes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Okay. Now, my first and most significant concern is the loss of privacy and spacing. 27 years ago, I spent months house hunting multiple properties before choosing Galbraith Avenue. Although the house is small, we gave up interior space so we could have outdoor space distant from neighbors, privacy, and independent purpose. This was not accidental, it was a priority. The value of our property was never about the house alone. It's about the land, and the sense of privacy. That remains true today. The small detached homes continuing to command a premium over larger semi-detached properties, even in winter months. If this project is saved, everything that made this neighborhood livable for me disappears, and I'll no longer want to live in it. I believe I'd be forced to sell because and probably before construction begins, because nobody's going to want to buy it. I asked the committee, why should I be forced to absorb financial loss that this will bring me? This development doesn't just change one lot, it affects all the lots around it. Another major concern of mine is the loss of green space. In recent years, many residents in the neighborhood have changed their lawns into pollinating friendly gardens and invested significant time and money in creating butterflies. These gardens are decorative. They improve air quality, support biodiversity, and absorb significantly more water than grass, and far more than permeable pavers. These cannot hibernate in permeable pavers, I must ask, why is the residents to green their properties if large developments are continually changing over? These take decades to grow. They are not replaceable in a time frame. And I'm concerned the way this is presented, his original trade was saying he'd take responsibility for it, which most developers do, just define as part of doing business. Finally, I asked the applicant to demonstrate the actual need for this census. The house beside mine, 21 GALBRAITH, was recently converted into 2 rental units. State renovations, it took 3 months to rent the main floor and 9 months to rent the basement. That does not reflect strong demand. New condominiums along O'Connor have also started, and some remain unsold to this day. There is no evidence of a housing shortage in our neighborhood. Recent articles in the news state rent is down and vacancy way up, and that's just going to continue with that massive building going up. Based on the forecast, in particular the forest, in the public interest rather than the private interest of the applicant, I believe this application fails. There is no demonstrated public need. There is significant harm to existing residents. The long-term damage to the neighborhood character and environmental health outweighs any benefit. As well, I'd like to note that on the drawings that the developers submitted, he doesn't show any of these walkways on the side. As well, our street is on a hill, and all of our houses are staggered. He's showing both buildings of equal height. Even the lawn on the east side is lower than the lawn part on the west side. And I just wondered if the builders are aware. And in conclusion, I would respectfully ask that you decline this application. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker, folks? None? Okay. We'll move on to, I think, is it the last speaker?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that's all the speakers, so I can bring the agent back.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Hello. Hi. Good afternoon again. You've heard all the comments that have been made by the various folks making their deputations. Could you perhaps respond to the ones that you've heard? Just rebut whatever you feel needs a response.
Yes, I took notes of whatever I could gather here. I'm going to have to run through this very quickly because of the time limitation. So what I'm gathering is reasonable concerns from the neighborhood, as always, and we put whatever energy and effort we could to hear them out and make adjustments accordingly. Now, it seems like most of the concerns are concerns related to the concept of this. So conceptually, this is something that's already permitted by the city in the zoning as of right. Now, I understand that committee is more nuanced than that. They don't just look at things black and white, and there's other things that factor in. However, I'd like to point out that the conceptual element is not necessarily part of the discussion. Grading and building code matters are all addressed at a later time, and if any adjustments that are identified that need to be made and are required, they will be made at the later time. this also includes forestry, although we try and make sure that we cover as much of that as possible. Now, regarding the clearance to the neighbor, I think the first thing that should be pointed out is that our clearance is actually now greater than it was before. So the new home is pushed away further than the original home, which increases the clearance there for the neighbor. Also, there will be no fence. So it's also not a high traffic area, and there's no reason to believe that traffic will be on his driveway. I think it's very simple, but there's a very simple way with different type of patio stone to differentiate which part is on our lot and which part is on his lot. So we're happy to discuss with the daycare to commit to any solutions that they may have. Daycare was reached out also. There will not be 10 units hung off of the side of the building. Obviously, it's two separate buildings, 5 units each tops. So that would not happen. We also have nowhere determined where the HVAC units will go. They could go on top of the roof. They could be in the balconies. There could be different locations where these will go. It's not yet determined. So do you mind pulling? Okay, so one other thing in terms of the height, you notice that the neighbor on 20 Galbraith to the right of our proposal towers over his neighbor far more than we're towering over 20 Galbraith. So he has 2 stories plus roof, whereas we have 2 stories plus attic within, plus a 3rd story within the attic. So it's just a slight increase, and the church next to it is even taller than that. So it kind of follows the line with the greatest difference between neighbor 20 and his neighbor. Do you mind pulling up the shadow study while I continue here? So forestry is involved, the arborist is involved. We will honor anything grading related, anything forestry related. We will do exactly whatever the requirements are. Make sure that any adjustments that need to be made, that will be made at the time, as advised by professionals and as instructed by the departments. Okay, so I want to highlight that we are pushing back. If I may ask to pull up the shadow study while I continue speaking for time matters. So we push back the balcony for sight, for visibility, and for the angle from the streetscape. The 3rd floor is pushed back, and the balcony is in the area there. So so even on the shadow study that you have pulled up here, you see that there's we never actually claimed that there's no impact. We said there's minimal impact, and probably the greater impact is from unit 20 to the neighboring property. The impact there is much greater. Ours is much more controlled and regulated. You'll see as you scroll through these pictures. So no driver will be used for traffic. I'm just going through my notes here. For the neighbor and the rear, there are very large trees actually in between ours and theirs. And I think also that privacy is maintained for closer properties to the left and the right. And we're in the rear where we have trees already covering it. We have only minimal solutions for privacy there, but if it can be included as a condition, I'm happy to do it. So one last item that I want to mention before I honor the time here is we don't think of ourselves as intruders in the neighborhood. We think of ourselves as members of the neighborhood that carry a responsibility, and we want to make sure that we honor the responsibility. This was already clarified in the meeting, and we ensured to repeat it multiple times and give everybody a chance there to address any issues and make sure that we think of ourselves as members of the community. By the way, that meeting was technical for about an hour and then continued for another at least an hour and a half informally.
Mr. Rafiq, I think we've just gone a little bit past the allotted time. So I'll thank you for that. And let me see if my colleagues have any questions for you at this point.
Yes.
Any questions? No, Ms. Reed? None? Mr. McKay, any questions, any thoughts?
Yeah, no questions, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Rafiq, I was just going to ask you one quick one, if I may. Could you just describe what you have as of right? What you're allowed as of right?
As of right, from which perspective? From the building shell perspective?
Fiveplex, because I believe these are fiveplexes, right?
So the proposal is a fiveplex, yes. That's what I believe will be permitted. And like I said before, I'm not even sure if it's necessary to mention it, but if for whatever reason during the building permit stage, it gets determined that we cannot satisfy the requirements there, we would have to make adjustments accordingly. If it has to turn into a fourplex, we're happy to do so. And at the same time, the variances here, as far as I understand, are related to the splitting the lot, or that's the main discussion point. You're splitting the lot and then the side yard setback. So like I said, other departments are responsible there. We respect them, and if any adjustments are requested from other departments in future stages of the process, then we're happy to make adjustments accordingly.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, maybe I do have.
Sorry, there is one question for you from Mr. Ghosh.
So with severed properties, it can be hard to know which variances apply to which parcel, or at least I find that. But am I correct that the side yard setback variances both have to do with the side yards that would be facing the new lot line dividing the two properties? Like, it's of the two buildings facing each other, that there's no side yard variance for either of the external side yards.
Yes, that's correct. And like I mentioned, the setback to the side of 20 towards the lot that separates 18 and 20 will be increased, and the setbacks are only in between, so they only affect the variances for the setbacks only affect the two proposed structures.
In between the two proposed, yeah. Okay, thanks.
Any other thoughts? Any questions? None? Mr. McKay, any questions?
No, thanks, Chair. No questions.
Okay, perhaps, thank you, Mr. Rafiq. We'll take it into committee now and deliberate. All right, who'd like to start off?
I'm happy to, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Ghosh.
So we have three separate applications. We have the severance, and then we have the two sets of variances. But the two buildings are quite similar, and I think we can kind of look at it all together. They have similar sort of mirroring variances. So then it's sort of the severance under that test and under the Planning Act, and then the variances. If I look at the two proposed fiveplexes, I actually tend to agree with what the agent says, that it's very close to what's permitted as of right on each of these two lots. That a sixplex would be permitted, but he's doing fiveplexes. That we look at the variances, and the one about the lot frontage has to do with the severance, so we can consider that under the severance. Mm-hmm. The one having to do with minimum lot area, the lot area that's being proposed is still above the threshold that the province is going to mandate across the province. You can't have those minimums anymore. So, and then the concern that I thought I was correct, and the agent confirmed that. The only thing that would be concerning would be the side yard setback, if that was increasing. So I think the neighbor in number 20 is raising concerns that any neighbor in that situation would raise about, there's going to be access at the rear and it's going to be along my side yard. But these are kind of some of the compromises you have for living in a city. I think it would have been more problematic if that's where the side yard setback was being sought. so that it was pushing that onto his lot. But that movement can be accommodated within the 1.2 meters, which is entirely within this lot. So then I'm almost going backwards. If we have two multiplexes going up with variances that to me are quite minor, then that sort of leads me to believe that the severance is a reasonable severance under the Planning Act, meeting the goals of the Planning Act, which is to enforce the provincial goals and the official plan and all of the rest of that. So I see the applications as approvable. I do understand that this kind of change can be a lot for a community, but to come to terms with. But I actually think it'll fit quite well in after, it's one of those things that seems scarier than the result will actually end up being. Whether or not I'm right on that, but I think on a planning basis, it's approvable. And I think the applicant agent outreach to a neighborhood can be difficult, and I don't know that their outreach was perfect, but I did appreciate that there at least was some effort, and they demonstrated that. So I appreciate that they made some effort there.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. Mr. Reid, any thoughts?
Sure, Chair. Yeah, I was at the previous times that this came before committee, and to Phil's last point, I think that I do commend the applicant for making an effort to meaningfully engage with the public, whether that's, what they wanted to hear or not. I think they did make an effort. They did do shadow studies, and they did the lotting analysis. And I think that that's commendable. Often we ask people to do those things, and then they come back, and really very little has changed. Not a lot has changed materially with this application. But to Phil's point too, I do think that this is a defensible set of applications. This is, I think, what City Council is looking for, and as we see really often, this is being met with a lot of resistance from communities, especially more suburban communities like this. But it's been a conscious decision by City Council to have this type of allow this type of development throughout the city. And the variances that are required to get to this point are really small, in my opinion. And the impacts of these variances are internalized to the central property line of these newly created lots. And just to the lotting question too, I do think that these lots are, the size of the lots fits in with the neighborhood, and I think they were previously separate lots. They have different part numbers, and I think that that's a historical kind of thing. Coming down from the church as well, I think it does feel like a bit of a kind of decrease of density down into the neighborhood as well. So I understand the neighbors' concerns, and I commend them. They've done a really good job putting together their arguments, and they obviously care very much of this, but I believe these variances are minor, and I'll support.
Thank you, Mr. Reid. Ms. Crawford, any thoughts?
Yes, given the sort of magnitude of the project, I thought it was nice that there's a church next door on one side. And I think the lot frontage and area analysis was fairly key for me, because there do seem to be a lot of properties in the area that have very similar frontage and area. So I believe it's a supportable application as well.
Thank you. Mr. McKay, any thoughts?
Yes, I think I could support the severance, but in listening to all of the submissions, I just felt there were too many impacts arising. That, of course, goes to the variances. So my view is I could not support the variances. As already said, in terms of the consent to sever and the lots being created, I think that those are reasonable and acceptable. But I'll vote against the project because of the variances.
Thank you, Mr. McKay. For my part, I think I concur with my colleagues here present with me, I think this is a supportable application. And as Mr. Ghosh pointed out, one of the most difficult things for human beings is change, and especially where the change that is perceived may not be the change that ends up being the reality. The city is now moving in the direction of becoming a very much world-level city where our population is increased tremendously and will be increasing. And the kind of range of residences that are now necessary in our city, that's what we're beginning to see. So I certainly think that this is a supportable application, notwithstanding all the concerns that everybody has. We should have concerns. If you don't have a concern, people will get away with a lot. And I think this is a reasonable application. The applicants certainly have made great efforts to try and accommodate as many of the concerns as possible. Or one of the concerns, for example, which really is not realistic in this world, was the neighbor from the rear who pointed out he wanted the balcony privacy screen right around, and that just doesn't work. So I think there's perception issues as well with this particular application, but I would be willing to support this application. So with having said all of that, and I thank all of you for your input, look for a motion and let's move forward with that.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the Secretary Treasurer, do we need one motion, two motions, three motions?
Through the chair, you can reference all the application numbers at once when making the motion, and just separate the conditions per the minor variance and per the consent. If you'd like, we can go through the conditions.
Sure. Could you help me out with that? I do plan on making a motion, but the conditions as between them.
Sure. So through the chair, I would also point out the urban forestry condition number 2 and number 3, and they've also put forward the memo with recommendation number 5, which is a denial.
Yeah.
So should you wish to discuss that, you may, but those are the conditions put forward from urban forestry. And then in terms of engineering, for the consent application, you would have your standard consent conditions, should you approve, as well as the additional conditions from engineering. Staff can pull up the engineering report on the screen. The engineering conditions were actually from the deferred package, so it was from the previous iteration. They haven't updated their comments. And so the additional engineering comments just relate to municipal numbering, as well as submitting revised plans to show a notation about the public right-of-way and a walkway and the driveway curb cut and restoration landscaping requiring a separate permit. And that is all the conditions that have been received from departments.
Okay, so I'll make a motion, and I'll just, before I make the motion, address the forestry report, because I'd forgotten that, but it had been something I thought when I read it, which is, in this case, they're asking for a refusal about a tree that has a caliper that's far, far below the amount that triggers any forestry bylaw, just because it's a replacement tree. And I think for us to overweigh a 6 centimeter diameter tree would not be in keeping with the overall city policies for intensification, given that the other forestry conditions would require them to get a permit in any event. And I think forestry can ask them to plant a similar caliper tree. We're not losing years of tree growth here. So I'll Move to approve the severance subject to the standard engineering conditions and the ones contained in the engineering report in the deferred package, and subject to forestry conditions 2 and 3. And I move to approve, so that's application bearing A or B7025 TEY. And then I move to approve the other 2 applications, each for minor variances, subject to forestry conditions 2 and 3.
I think that captures it, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you, Mr. Reed. So, Mr. Ghosh has moved motion to approve the application with the conditions that were outlined, and Mr. Reed seconds that. All in favor? You? All opposed? Mr. McKay? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, through the chair, Member Crawford, you're opposed or in support?
No, she was in support, I believe. I saw the hand, I think. Okay, thank you. The application is approved. Thank you. All right, and now we move on to item number 22. Item number 22 is 20 Beaconsfield Avenue. Purpose of the application is to alter the existing 2.5 story detached dwelling by constructing a front one-car carport structure and to permit a new front yard parking space abutting Beaconsfield Avenue within the new front one-car carport structure. Also to reduce the rear yard soft landscaping approved in minor variance decision A0130/24TUI by constructing a rear ground floor deck, a rear walkway, and a hot tub in the rear yard. There will be a total of 2 residential dwelling units on this lot, 1 unit occupying the main dwelling and 1 unit occupying the ancillary building containing 1 laneway suite under construction. The committee had before it the following communication: copy of the minutes from October 1st, 2025 public meeting, copy of plan of survey, revised site plan, floor plans and elevations, 6 photographs of trees on the subject property, a covering letter from the agent, and a decision number affecting the subject property. We also have staff report from Metrolinx.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online and 1 registered speaker in opposition online.
Okay. Mr. Goldman, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon, Chair,
Hi, good
members of the
afternoon.
committee. My name is Barry Goldman. I'm the architect and agent for this proposal. My address is 321 Carlaw, Unit 203. Given there's some opposition, I think I should make a very brief presentation.
Yeah, I think we have, I think we've only got 1 person in opposition that will be presenting. So yes, we'll need a presentation, please.
Okay, I will keep this brief. And if I may,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to split this into the front and rear yard. I recognize it's 1 hearing, but the variances are separate. In the rear yard, we're seeking a single variance to permit reduced soft landscape area in order to accommodate a deck and a walkway. The deck at the rear of the main house and the walkway connecting. We were previously approved for, I think it was about 74%. I will note we worked very closely with urban forestry on the rear yard landscape. And what we're proposing here is to create a permeable wood deck. And we made a point of showing this on all the plans and site plans so that we can be bound by this. But it's a permeable wood deck above a river rock base. So I know that water permeability and stormwater control is paramount. And And really, we've tried to address that. If you would consider, actually, that drawing you had up, I'm sorry, was A2. So I'm sorry, A3. Actually illustrates this nicely. So essentially, the area you can see covered by the wood deck will be a permeable wood deck with river rock underneath it. And if you consider that as part of the area that will absorb rainwater, it will. There's no hard surface over it. We're actually at about 91.6%. Additionally, there have been rear yard landscape areas awarded on Beaconsfield as low as, I think the lowest was 43. That's on the third page of my cover letter, 50%, 50%. In other words, the ratio we're asking for has been approved, but I will point out that we're really, in terms of stormwater drainage, we're over 90%, so we do comply. So really, that's the rear yard. With respect to the front yard, we're proposing a small carport. So the front and side yard setbacks that we're proposing are really for that post, that little post in the bottom right corner. They do align with the existing posts that are constructed as of right on the property. So again, the front yard setback and rear yard setback, I will suggest already exist, or side yard setback, pardon me. We're proposing a single post with a permeable roof above it. That roof will allow rainwater. The driveway itself is in existing condition. We did try and obtain archival photos. I'll maintain, I suggest it was built at the same time as the house, but we do have pictures that are 50 years old showing that it's there. So the driveway itself is an existing condition. We're proposing to remove the existing driveway and replace it with a more permeable form of pavement, which would be an improvement. And again, so variance number 2, the parking space, that is an existing condition. It's been in existence, as far as we can tell, since the house was built, but for at least 50 years. And the front yard setback is an existing condition. It's just those posts are supporting the porch, and so they're not considered part of the front setback because they're permitted, whereas a post that picks up a carport is not. So we need variances 3 and 4, again, for a single post. I think really that's probably all I need to say about this. I'll surrender the rest of my time to hear the opposition and then speak again.
Thank you very kindly. We'll do exactly that. Move on to the person in opposition.
Mr. Chair, may
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. We do have a question from Mr. Ghosh for you.
Sorry.
The only part of your submissions that confused me a little was saying that the carport roof is permeable. Do you mean the pavement in the carport or the roof?
The roof of the carport will have slats that will allow rainwater to go through them.
Just out of curiosity, what's the purpose of having a roof enclose that area at all?
It's a bit of a compromise. It will shield it from hail and heavy objects. Because it's a slotted roof, so it will keep the sun off the car, and it will provide some shelter. And also aesthetically, if you could go to the 4th page of the cover, it'll just dress up, because there is currently a condition where cars for both properties are pulling up adjacent to the houses, and the intention is to really just kind of dress up that condition and have the car be not fully enclosed, but have a bit of a roof over it. So you can see there's the existing porch, there's the neighbor's car. So our proposed carport is going to be in the same plane coming forward as the existing roof, a little bit lower, subordinate to it. We've met with Heritage, they're satisfied with it. And the slots are really intended to let some daylight in areas into the windows at the front. So it's admitting some light, but it's providing shelter. Again, it would stop hail and branches and things like that, and dress up the condition so it looks more like the car is behind something and not just in front of the house, if that makes sense.
Okay, thanks. That was helpful.
Okay, we'll move on to the person in opposition.
Randall, you've been
Hello.
unmuted.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
Could we get
Can you
your
hear me
name and
okay?
address, please?
My name is Randall Kerr. I'm owner occupant of 18 Beaconsfield Avenue.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and
Good
committee members.
afternoon. You have 5 minutes to make your case, please.
Okay, well, I've got a lot of notes here I've been making. I immediately want to object to what the architect had just mentioned about historical references on the driveway, et cetera. I've been in the house 45, 46 years now going on, and it's not as he's representing it, but that's another matter. It's not in front of the committee from an accuracy standpoint. So my notes on this file, I've got two levels of objection, basically. One is the duration of the project, contributed to by the designer, the architect, the general contractor, et cetera. It's now dragged on to 51 months we've endured this project, and it's not finished yet. And one of the things I'm going to ask for is that it gets finished without the approval of these additional changes, because we have no guarantee that there won't be additional requests made. That's been the modus operandi to this point. Just a reminder, 51 months is over 1,500 days of construction. And I lived through every single one of them. I could have written a book on this. My second level of objection is on some of the specifics, which obviously the architect who wants to get this project approved and ultimately paid for, I guess, has overlooked. So I've got, this is probably the fourth version of building permits and committee of adjustments applications. We're having a hard time following this at this length of time. It's almost a full-time project. My wife and I live at 18 Beaconsfield Avenue. We're retirees. We're in our 70s. And we've lost the enjoyment of our property for the last 4.5 years due to the, I would call it incompetency of the team building this building or renovating it. Just going through here, number two. Cover number two. Okay, so I'll get right into some of the variances that I had a problem with. I've been in front of committee of adjustment hearings since 1981. Our property we went through from 1981 with some changes. So, and a number of other ones in the neighborhood since then. So, I just want to mention a few things that are overlooked here. The first item, the 55% landscaping. I find that the calculations on this are dubious at best, and they're hiding the real facts of the decks in the rear. For example, the rear backyard. There's overhangs, there's drainage off of them, and they're separately drained into God knows where. Which I've got an example on one of the pictures there. If you go back one more, keep going. You keep going. There should be three or four. So it's in there. Next one, I think. Anyway, so I think the miscalculated, that's the one, stop there. So calculations are dubious, as I said. Your number 2 point, the Victorian Heritage classification of Lower Beaconsfield. The owner of this house was fully aware when he bought the house a few years ago that all the streetscape housing, except for 1 or 2, were designated heritage. And I find it very difficult that a carport going into the front end of the house is going to totally change that heritage streetscape to the point where everybody's going to be requesting it, because why wouldn't they want to park on their front lawn? Okay, and you're going to ruin a very valuable heritage designated street, which can't be replaced. So that was number 2 I have a problem with. Who approved that at Heritage? I'd like to know. I couldn't find it amongst the dozens of documents that were assigned to this thing online. So I would like to know who approved that. Number 3, the minimum setback of 0.9 meters is required from a serviceability standpoint. Now, I'm pointing at the rear laneway suite that they've built. They built it to their lot line. They were approved, and then they've all of a sudden put a drain out the side going towards the laneway at the rear. They're also doing this throughout the build. They're putting drains all over the place, but they're not hitting the soft landscaping in all cases. And I have no way of proving otherwise if that's been changed or approved. Number 3, so the setback on is important for serviceability. There's a setback here of less than a foot, maybe a third of a meter, and not too many workmen would be able to fit into this spot.
Mr. Kerr, just to remind
Number
you,
4.
You've got 20 seconds left.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. So number 4, the minimum setback at the front yard. If the last time we did a presentation, they omitted the heated driveway. Now it's included. What's going to be the next change? So I think that the committee needs to cancel this or finish off what they were previously approved at, and get on with it so we can get on with our life. Okay, 4.5 years, and we can't enjoy our property. There is a good neighbor policy at the City of Toronto. I've read it, and this makes laughing stock of that policy in relation to subcontractors.
Thank you, Mr. Kerr. We'll allow the agent to provide some feedback. Thank you. Okay, any questions for Mr. Kerr? None? Mr. McKay, any questions? None? Okay, let's get Mr. Goldman back.
Okay, thank you. I don't think I need to address duration of a project. It's not material to zoning. The proposal was approved by Heritage, and it, really in this image at the bottom of the screen, if you look at the adjacent porch, you'll see that it is closer to the street. The parking has been there since day one, and the variances 3 and 4 that we're requesting for side yard and front yard setback are for a single post that is in line. So if you could pull up the other image, the one below that one. Thank you. We're adding another post that will be in line to those 2 little posts that you see supporting the existing deck. So it's hard for me to understand how that's going to affect anyone materially. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Goldman at this point? None? Mr. McKay, any questions?
No, thanks, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Goldman, we'll take it into committee, but before that, I do have one question for you.
Yes.
And it's with regard to variance number 1. You mentioned that and it's on the site plan, that the area below the deck, proposed deck, would be permeable.
Yes, that's correct.
Would you be comfortable with that being a condition? Either we could make that a condition on the permeability.
Oh, yes,
below
please.
That,
Yeah, if you choose to tie it to the site plan.
Site plan A1.
A1 or A3 is just a blow up of the same area with the same information. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, we'll take it into committee. And who'd like to, Mr. McKay, would you like to begin the beginnings?
All right, sir. Yeah, I thought the presentation was very good on sort of the permeable and water distribution and that sort of thing. So I'm prepared to move approval of this variance application, and there are no conditions.
Just Mr. McKay, if I may, the question I'd asked Mr. Goldman about tying it to plans A1 and A3, would that be okay with you?
Yeah, very appropriate. Yes, thank you.
Thank you kindly. Okay. Second, Mr. Reid. Thank you. Mr. Reid seconds that. All those in favor? Thank you. Mr. Goldman, you have your approval with the conditions that we discussed. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 23. Okay, item number 23 is 53 Beresford Avenue. Purpose of the application to construct a new one-story detached ancillary building to contain a sitting room and study area in the rear yard. The ancillary building will not be used for habitable space. The existing detached garage in the rear yard will be demolished. The committee had before it the following communication: copy of the minutes from the December 3rd, 2025, January 21st, 2026, and February 25th, 2026 public hearings. Copy of plan of survey, revised site plan, floor plans, and elevations, covering letter from the agent, and we have correspondence in opposition from Swansea Area Ratepayers Group.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent here in person and one registered speaker online in opposition.
Good afternoon.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Tom Phelan. I live at 55 Montclair Avenue. And good afternoon to
Hi,
Mr.
good
Chair
afternoon.
and committee.
We will need a presentation. We do have one person in opposition.
All right. Well, we have to catch up on what happened since the last hearing and why the deferral. So the last time I was here, there was some discussion about the soft landscaping calcs in the rear yard. And namely, there's an item, it was the sod under the porch on the new ancillary building. Was that included in the soft landscaping or was it not included? I couldn't answer the question. And so we went away and I did my calcs again on the rear yard. And I discovered that I had included it in the soft landscaping. And since, this proposal came about a year ago, and since that time, the bylaws changed, and we had a parking pad in the rear yard at one point, and the bylaw changed, and that parking pad is not required anymore on this property. So that became part of our soft landscaping, so that's a bonus to us. And so we had a soft landscaping percentage of about 36% a while back, and now the new percentage is about 46%, and that's a calculation done by the city, also by the examiner, and it matched my calcs, so I went with that. So that gives us our new 46% soft landscape number, which I think is approaching what's required, which is 50%. So that's good, I think. And in the last hearing, there was contention with the Swansea people, ratepayers, about our foundations on the new building. And we had had a frost wall there before, and it has turned into a slab on grade with thickened slab edges just to aid with, contention around the soil and drainage and whatnot on our property here. So I think that's about it. There is a letter of support from the neighbor who shares the mutual drive, so this is a good thing. I think that covers just about everything.
Thank you. I'll just see if my colleagues have any questions of you at this point. Any questions? None? Mr. McKay? Mr. McKay has a question for you.
Just wanted to ask about the lot coverage of the auxiliary building. It's fairly large increase. And as considering the use, I guess, as a sitting room and study area, what can you say as to that? So you're more than 3 times, it looks like, a lot coverage by the ancillary building.
That's correct, but I looked for some precedent previous, and there was some exhibit in here. Another property, 33 Kennedy Ave from
I don't know where that is.
January. I don't know, that should be in the file somewhere. And they had approved a ancillary building with a area of 48.88 meters squared. Ours is like 31.69 meters. So, so there's some precedent for, considerably kind of large ancillary building in the neighborhood. I think the size and scale of this building is appropriate. We're removing the existing garage there, and we're building this new ancillary building in place of that garage, and we're just adding a little more space to what was the existing garage space, basically, with a nice porch to add to it.
But it's not habitable space, though.
It's not habitable space, no. It'll be a sitting room, it'll be a study, it'll be a place for the kids to hang out. I mentioned last time that the owners have 3 children and a dog, and they're in this modest 2-story house, so they're kind of bursting at the seams. They're really seeking to have this additional space for whatever use, just give them some more breathing room, basically. So
Okay, thank you. All right,
that's
that's
concern.
fine. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McKay. Any other questions right now? I just have one question for you. Oh, we have one person in opposition before I forget. Okay, let's go to that person and come back.
Nicholas, you've been unmuted.
Good afternoon. I'm Nicholas Singh for the Swansea Area Ratepayers.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Good afternoon. And your address, please?
93, sorry. It's the address of Lavinia, sorry. 93 Lavinia, yes.
I'm glad I'm not the only one this happens to. Mr. Singh, thank you very much. You've got your 5 minutes to make your case.
Thank you. I'd like to start our presentation with a comment about the letter of support. We note that the letter of support is not for an ancillary building, but for a garage. Nowhere in the message does it mention the ancillary building that contains a study or reading room that we have before us today. The text of the messages consistently reference a garage. So unless the neighbor is here today to clarify what they are in support of, I would ask the committee to set the email in support aside. As for 33 Kennedy, it was not for lot coverage. It was submitted by the applicant, and if you have a look, you'll see it's not an approval for lot coverage. Speaking of the garages, it takes us to the bylaws for lot coverage. There are 2 bylaws for lot coverage. One considers the practical need for garages and pools and allows up to 10% lot coverage for a garage. In this case, the garage is being demolished. So the other bylaw that does apply directly to this application says that if the ancillary building is not for a garage or pool, then you are allowed a lesser lot coverage of 5%. Clearly, the intent of the bylaw for ancillary buildings on lots without a garage is that the lot coverage should be less than those with garages. In other words, less than 10%. In our view, the ancillary building that exceeds 10% allowed for garages would be in conflict with the intent and purpose of the bylaws. We also note that the proposed 18.3% coverage exceeds the allowance for both a garage and an ancillary building combined. Again, this is contrary to the intent and purpose of the bylaws, which do not provide for both 10% for a garage and 5% for an ancillary building. So not only is the size of the proposed building excessive, but it does not pass the test for the intent and purpose of the bylaws. We further note that the proposed square footage of an ancillary building, this one, is almost 1/3 that of the main building. We see this is at odds with the 5% lot coverage provided by the bylaws, and we believe it is excessive. Given the size of this new building, we also have some concerns that somewhere in the future, if the property changes hands, for example, it could be used as office space. We also know that what is proposed will cover nearly the full width of the rear yard and be double the size of the existing garage. There will be a reduced rear setback that will obstruct basic maintenance and repair. As well, it will crowd the rear lot with the neighbor at the rear and create additional shadowing on neighboring properties. From an environmental point of view, this proposal inhibits the tree canopy and contributes to the heat dome effect and requires additional heating and cooling. We also do not see any evidence from the applicant that the proposal passes the tests for the official plan. In summary, we feel that the application, particularly the 18.3% lot coverage variance, does not maintain the intent and purpose of the bylaws, and the size and setbacks overwhelm the backyard and inhibits tree growth. We recommend that the application be refused. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Any questions for Mr. Singh at this point? Mr. McKay, any questions? None?
No, nothing for him. No, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Your feedback.
Mr. Singh. Appreciate your comments. I have a question. You said we're going to double the size of what was the existing garage. Not really. I mean, we're maybe doubling the roof scape, but the building itself is maybe 1.5 times what was there with that existing
I'm sorry
garage.
to interrupt you, Mr. Phelan. Could you speak a little bit louder? I'm having difficulty. I'm not sure.
Okay,
what you
so
hear.
I would say that the existing garage, the new building is about 1.5 times the size of the existing garage. He had said that it's like twice the size of the existing garage, like 1.5 times. The new 10% max on ancillary building size, I think that is maybe a new bylaw or has come about in the last little while. So we've had this proposal, in the works for about a year, and at the last hearing, there didn't seem to be any discussion or debate about the size of this building. And now there's some contention about the percentage number that's come up. Again, I can just suggest that the scale and the size of what we're proposing here, I think it's fitting for the size of the lot and dealing with the scale of the existing structure in the lot and in keeping with the neighborhood. So I'm just going to leave it at that and leave it up to the committee to make a decision here. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Phelan at this point? Mr. McKay, any questions for Mr. Phelan?
No, I don't. Thanks very much.
Okay. I think there was one that I did have. Bear with me. Would you be comfortable with a condition that says that the proposed structure not be? I know it's in the purpose that it not be a habitable space.
Yes, that's not an issue. I mean, there's a washroom suggested in this space. There's no kitchen. The owner is even thinking of removing the washroom to make it just a space. So.
Thank you. Okay, we'll take it into committee and look for a decision for you. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Reid.
Thanks, Chair. I'm happy to start. I think this is a good application, and I appreciate that it's evolved over time, and especially with the removal of the driveway and having that be soft landscaping now. It's two of the variances being requested are really, really minor, right? The first one, the landscape one, and the eaves. I think those are extremely minor in terms of amount and impact. And particularly because this is a pretty restrained structure. It's at its very height, it's 13 feet, and then it drops down to 8 feet high in the back. The third variance, it appears large, but I'm not so bothered by it. I think that the distance between the existing garage and the house is maintained. And there is a pretty sizable porch on the front that I think will read as kind of outdoor space there. So I think this is a very attractive and restrained proposal, and I'll support it. I don't know if my colleagues have any comments, or I can move a motion.
Anybody else?
Why don't you go ahead and...
Yeah, sure.
If I might interject, Mr. Reid, the question that I asked Mr. Phelan about a condition that that the structure not be used for habitable space.
Agreed. Yes, I think that makes sense too. So I'll move approval of the application for the reasons I stated, with the condition that the chair has put forward that it not be used for habitable space.
Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. Okay, all those in favor with that condition? 1, 2, 3, 5. You have a unanimous approval. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Excellent.
Okay. We move on to item number 24, which is 112 Argyle Street. And the purpose of the application is to alter the existing one-story detached dwelling by constructing, a complete second-story and third-story addition, front entrance, rear basement walkout, rear first-floor deck with stairs, rear second and third-story balconies, and a side west exterior staircase to access each story. Also to alter the existing rear one-story detached ancillary building abutting the laneway by constructing a one-story addition along the south wall and a complete second-story addition. The ancillary building will contain a one-car garage on the first level and one laneway suite, which will occupy a portion of the first level and the second story. There will be a total of 4 residential dwelling units on this lot, 3 units within the main dwelling and 1 unit within the ancillary building. Committee had before it the following communications. Copy of the minutes from the February 25th, 2026 public hearing, copy of plan of survey, revised site plan, floor plans and elevations, cover letter from the agent, cover letter from a different agent, and we have a staff report from Urban Forestry.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online and no registered speakers.
Thank you.
Good afternoon through you, Mr. Chair. Sal Creamy, address 2572 Eglinton Avenue West.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Creamy. We don't seem to have anybody in opposition to this application, so we don't need a presentation from that perspective. Let me just see if my colleagues require a presentation, or have some questions for you. Mr. Reid has a question.
Thanks, Chair. This is similar in a way to a previous application we heard today, in that it looks like the access from the street to the laneway suite is a little bit limited. You have your proposed stairs on the one side that have a zero meter side yard setback, and then on the other side, I believe it's less. Can you talk about that, please?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. So the staircase on the west side is primarily going to be the access for the second and third floor dedicated units. The access to the laneway suite is going to be achieved on the east side through an LDA, a limiting distance agreement, which is in place and shown on the site plan.
Okay, that's already in place.
Yes.
Okay, great, thanks.
Any other questions for Mr. Creamy? Mr. McKay, any questions for Mr. Creamy?
I don't, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Creamy, we don't seem to have any other questions for you. It's a fairly straightforward application with 4 variances that I can see, and I don't believe any of them are contentious. So we'll take it into committee and look for a decision for you.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Who'd like to run with this particular one? Thank you, Mr. Reid.
It was actually me, Chair.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
I'm hard
sorry,
to see. I'm hard to see back here.
I confuse them all the time.
Go ahead, Ms. Crawford. I do apologize. We're going to have to move you to this end.
Yeah, I'll put my screen on the other side. I move for approval of this application. It's a good use of the property in this neighborhood. The variances are minor, achieving additional housing. It's not out of scale with the neighborhood. There's no evidence of negative impact. There's a letter of support. So with urban forestry condition number 1, I would move for approval of the application.
Thank you very much. Do we have a seconder? Oh, Mr. McKay, thank you so much.
Yes.
And with the forestry condition, Ms. Crawford's moved to approve, seconded by Mr. McKay. All those in favor? Pardon me. Mr. Creamy, you have your approval unanimously. Thank you. And moving on to item number 25. Item number 25. The purpose of the application is to permit and construct a second-story rooftop outdoor patio to be used as a children's play area. The existing two-story non-residential detached building is under renovation by a day nursery, a childcare facility, as approved by building permit 25-1433-17 BLD 00BA. The committee had before it the following communication, copy of the minutes from the March 11th, 2026 public hearing, a copy of plan of survey, revised site plan, floor plans, elevations, 7 photographs of the subject property, covering letter from the agent. We also have staff report from Metrolinx, correspondence in support from 28 Eastern Avenue, and total of 4 form letters in support signed by owners and occupants of 107 and 123 Trinity Avenue, 9A Gilead Place, and 7B Gilead Place. We also have opposition correspondence from 28 Eastern Avenue, 465 King Street East, 28 Eastern Street, and 2 from 28 Eastern Street.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent here in person and no registered speakers.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm Adam Tom, 3 Gilead Place. I did register Elisa Randall, who's the to speak today as well. I don't know if that got missed, but she may want to say a few words as well.
Through you, Mr. Chair, is this the owner of the property?
That's correct.
Will you be, you'd have to share your 5 minutes of speaking
That's
time.
fine. We can do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let me just see if, it doesn't look like we have anybody in opposition, nobody online. So we won't need a presentation from that perspective, but let's see if my colleagues require some presentation from you, or they may have questions for you.
Thank you.
Mr. Reid?
Thanks, Chair. I was here last time that this file came before committee, and there were some confusion around the variances being requested and which patios were in question versus not. So I think it might be helpful if you just go over. I see that it's been tightened up, but if you can just kind of review what's changed. Okay, thanks.
So I wasn't the agent for that hearing, but what happened was there was some confusion caused by the notice itself in the language that was written, as well as during the presentation that also brought further confusion. And the building, the way it's designed, has 3 separate play areas, 2 of which are on the ground level. And this variance is focused on only the rooftop open air small playground it has a perimeter wall around it. So my understanding, Elisa may want to speak to this, was that wasn't made clear, that it wasn't clear that it was just this single smaller playground on the second level that requires the variances.
Okay. Yeah, no, that helps. And that's
sum it up.
Right, and that's more, it's internalized to the site, right? It's quite central.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay. Just looking at the, I think it's one of the plans here, ZC02. What your application is actually focused on is an extremely small area set extremely far from the end of the full building, with from, if I remember correctly, 7-foot fenced off area, so that we don't have any potential mountain climbers too far. And then looking at the variances, from what I can see, you've got 2 what I would consider very minor variances. So I personally don't see any issues with this particular application. So if my colleagues don't have any other questions, we'll take it into the committee and render a decision for you.
Thank you.
Ms. Reid, thank you very kindly.
Yeah. Thanks for coming back, and thanks for clarifying, because there were a lot of questions last time, but I think you did a really good job at focusing in on what you're requesting, and the fact that there's not a lot of opposition here now, I think speaks to that. So I think what we have is a very small request for a balcony that has taken care of, people did have concerns about overlook and about shadowing, but I think that the impacts of those are really minor. So I'm happy to move approval without condition.
Thank you, Mr. Reid. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Ms. Crawford. All those in favor? Thank you. You have a unanimous approval. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Through you, Mr. Chair, that's the end of the 2 p.m. time slot portion of our agenda. Perhaps before we start the 3 p.m. session, members, if you would like a break, a quick, would you like 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
I think Mr. Reid has to get away.
Yes, and Member Reid has to leave, so he'll be marked as absent for the remainder of the hearing.
Yeah.
But let's take...
Very nice. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's take a 10-minute break then, members. And for the public, we will be starting the 3 p.m. time slot in 10 minutes. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Next. Hi, Shnu. Vicky. Well, my brother's approved this year. Okay. Yeah. That's good because we have got a bunch of them. I got a cold, but I'm going to the rest. Maybe one more hour. Take the chicken. But, yes. Yeah, Mr. Reid's got to go. Mr. Reid.
All right. Mhm. Coś znaleźć. That's not even fine. One story. Huge landscaping.
Ready to roll? Okay. And we're back with the last portion of the day's hearings. Item number 26, 104 Argyle Street. The purpose of the application to construct a new one-story detached ancillary building and two-car garage in the rear yard abutting the public laneway. Committee had before it the following communication: copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. 4 photographs of the subject property, covering letter from the agent, email correspondence from the agent, staff report from Urban Forestry, and correspondence in support from 175 Lisgar Street. Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent here in person and no registered speakers.
Thank you. Bear with me, sorry. If you could get your name and address, please. Thank you. I'm just looking at this application. I think it was a fairly straightforward one, if I remember correctly. Oh, right. I think I did have one question. The one question I did have, and perhaps before my colleagues get a chance to weigh in, the purpose of the application is to construct, but I was just wondering, is this already built or?
Yes, if you look at the submission, you can see one of the last photographs I included was the old garage. It was an old double-car garage that was right on the edge of the laneway. And a few years ago, the house was renovated, and with that renovation, they replaced the garage. So what we'd like to do is expand the garage to the east and into the rear yard to the north to give it more space, because right now the interior space of that garage is 18 feet in terms of the depth, and the one car they have is 16 feet. So it's just unmanageable inside to really move around these vehicles.
So it's really to expand the existing garage?
That's correct.
And that's where the construct comes in?
Yes, so what we'd like to do, because whoever built the garage built it well, and so there's a full footing with a keyed concrete footing to support the brick. So if we are able to move it to the east and into the, to the south, not the north, into the yard, into the south, then we'll maintain that same kind of construction. And we want to try to save as much of it as possible, but we will have to replace the roof.
Okay, that sounds good. Bear with me a second. I was just looking, you've only got 3 variances, and most of them look fairly straightforward. Do you have any questions, or do you require presentation, colleagues? None? No questions at this point? Mr.
Through the
McKay,
chair.
do you have any questions? Mr. McKay?
Yes, no questions, Chair. And as on an earlier application this afternoon, I was dealing with ancillary buildings and coverage, and we've got some of that here. But I've looked through the 3 variances. I'm satisfied that they meet the tests. I see there's an urban forestry condition number 3, so I would move approval of this application subject to that urban forestry condition number 3.
And perhaps, to alleviate that concern for variance number 1, I was going to ask if the area below the deck that I see on the site plan is permeable.
It would be.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, is that a question?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so the deck right now is an epay deck, and underneath it is crushed gravel, so both would be permeable to rainwater infiltration.
That's great, because that's mitigating for the variance number 1 request as well. So
Okay.
That's great. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I note that staff have a concern.
Actually, through the chair, could the speaker state their name and address?
Oh my goodness,
It
I
wasn't
missed that.
recorded.
Sure, and so I'm giving my home address, not my office address. Is that what you'd like? So anyways, it's Alex Bartlett, and I'm of 42 Scarborough Road in Toronto.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions, thoughts? None? Okay, we'll take it into committee and look for a decision. All right. Mr. McKay, would you like to run with this one?
Yes, thanks, Chair. Good comments there, and yes, a chance for further drainage. So I'm going to move approval of these three minor variances relating to 104 Argyle Street, subject to urban forestry condition number 3.
Thank you, Mr. McKay. Do we have a seconder?
Yeah, I'll second it just with the comment that I think the fact that they can maintain the soft landscaping again, close to 50% is sort of instructive on it not being, overly burdensome. So yeah, Fiona's happy to second.
That's great. Thank you very much. Okay, all those in favor? You have a unanimous approval, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And moving on to item number 27 is 29 Hatherley Road. Purpose of the application is to construct a new rear one-story detached ancillary building containing one garden suite with a basement level and a first floor Juliet balcony on the south side. There will be a total of 5 residential dwelling units on this lot, 4 units within the main building and 1 unit within the ancillary building. The committee had before it the following communication: copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of the subject property, covering letter from the agent, a decision number affecting the subject property, staff report from Urban Forestry, 5 form letters in support from owners and occupants of 33, 41, 48, 49, 50 Hatherley Road. And we have correspondence and materials in opposition from 27 Hatherley Road.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online and no registered speakers.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of committee. My name is
Name and address, please, sir.
Sure. My name is Mateen McAdam. I'm a partner at Art House Development located at 3335 Yonge Street, and I'm representing the client on this application for the proposed garden suite.
Thank you very much. You basically have one variance before us, and that's for soft landscaping. I think this is a bit contentious, but let's see where we go. Let me just ask my colleagues if they need a presentation or anybody has questions or any thoughts. Mr. McKay?
The only thing I had is I had noted there was a comment that someone seemed to be expecting a privacy fence that hadn't and some screening that hadn't been put in yet. But I looked at the deferred application. That was not a requirement. So it's not there as a condition, but somebody seemed to be asking about it relative to this property. So perhaps the applicant could speak to that.
Definitely, through you, Mr. Chair. The concerns about privacy are regarding a different committee application that was approved with that condition. We are currently actually building that staircase. So in the picture that they submitted, you can see the staircase is being erected. And for the purposes of being able to access and install that exit staircase, we had to omit that. But we will definitely be erecting the privacy screens prior to closing the permit. That's guaranteed.
Thanks for speaking to that. Thank you.
I do have one question for you. I was looking at the previous decision, and that was for a triplex and a 2-story triplex. We now have a 3-story structure and 4 units plus the ancillary. So you're looking at 5 units in total?
That is correct, yeah.
But sorry. Yeah, sorry, your variance isn't asking for the additional unit in the main structure. It's basically soft landscaping in the rear.
That is correct.
I'm just curious about how this happened.
Sorry, yes. So we originally went for a committee application for this 3-story, but then we decided to go for the 4-story. We have approval for the 4-story, and I'm not sure if that is shown here as a previous decision, but that we do have the 4 stories approved. But in this application, we are specifically asking for the soft landscaping variance. That's basically it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a little bit confusing. We have 3 applications.
It does get a little puzzling. It's almost incremental building here. And
I know.
Tends to throw you off a bit. I do have a question with regard to the variance you're requesting. 32.8% is a fair bit below what is required from 50. Can you suggest any areas where you could possibly mitigate and increase the soft landscaping? And I'm particularly looking at your site plan G1-01, and there's an area just to the side of the stairs on the east side. I don't know if that area is a walkway going into the ancillary building, the area below the stairs. I'm not quite sure what there is. Is that an area that could be kept as permeable space, and also the space below the deck?
Yes. So the space below the deck is actually it's essentially gravel. So that could be considered. I don't think that was included as part of the soft landscaping numbers, but that concrete surface is required for accessibility. So for wheelchair, we did consider reducing that, but we want to maintain sufficient access for accessibility. The raised planter garden, specifically, we reduced the thickness of the walls to mitigate that. I know it's not much. And I know that the raised planter area isn't exactly soft landscaping, but from a storm water management perspective, it does slow runoff and it directs overflow to the weep. So it's definitely better than a hard surface. Our alternative was basically to create a larger garden suite, so we would have to encroach onto the setbacks and also ask for more height. So we wanted to prioritize mindfulness for the neighbors. And we thought that this would be the best thing the least variance we could ask for.
If I may just ask about the planter box, is it the base, is that all soil?
No, so we have sufficient soil. I believe it's 18 inches, which is what the engineer recommended for proper planting. But below that, we have a concrete roof. And then that would essentially control, the soil would mitigate the runoff, but then you would also have that the additional runoff would go to the weed at the base of the garden suite.
So is that I'm sorry to belabor this, but so there's a basement in the garden suite.
Exactly.
Yeah. Does the basement extend below the planter box?
Exactly. That's precisely why we needed to do it. Otherwise, we wouldn't meet the minimum areas required for living spaces, for bedrooms. So it was it was what we considered the best way to try and get the minimum area without really encroaching onto the setbacks.
Interesting.
I know it's unorthodox, but yeah.
Yeah, I haven't so far come across a laneway street or garden suite with a basement that extends out. It's a mini iceberg.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And also for the fourplex, the balconies, we thought that we didn't want the tenants to basically overlook this massive, overbuilt structure in the backyard. So we thought that by having this, at least it would kind of mitigate that, and it would, reduce the overall size of the garden suite.
And sorry to belabor that, but the garden suite, as you've as is presented in the drawings, that's been approved with the extended basement.
No, so it meets. Yeah, exactly.
It has been approved.
No, that's what we're here for. It hasn't been approved, but the only variance it triggers is the soft landscaping.
Okay.
Soft landscaping.
Yeah.
Everything else is as of right.
Proposed.
Yeah.
And it triggers this soft landscaping.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I think I get it now. So the iceberg hasn't left Greenland yet.
No.
Okay. Colleagues, any questions? No. None. Mr. McKay, any questions?
No, I don't, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. We'll take it into committee now and look for a decision for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Mr. Ghosh?
So I have some thoughts. I love that you called it a mini iceberg because now I'm thinking of it as an ice cube home. But I think it's inventive. I think they've thought through those impacts. I personally like it. I think things outside of the box sometimes work, sometimes don't. If this is a great success, maybe we'll see more like this in the future. If people don't like their living space being primarily below grade, then this isn't going to be repeated across the city. I mean, we'll see. Time will tell, but I wouldn't, given that it is only triggering one variance, I wouldn't stop this from happening, especially where the variance is soft landscaping and there is permeability on the roof and permeability below the deck. And if you kind of look at the site plan without doing any actual calculations, I think if you considered those areas soft landscaping, they'd be well above 50%. So I think in terms of permeability, it's there. I think this application would have been considered better as a whole if they'd brought it as a fourplex with a garden suite all at once rather than piecemeal applications. But I know that the city's regulations have been changing so much that maybe what's available now to them is different than was earlier. I find it approvable, a small additional unit in the rear yard that will be an interesting home, small home for someone.
As an urban forestry condition, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll move to approve it, subject to urban forestry number 2.
Okay. Ms. Crawford, any thoughts before we move on to a seconder? No.
No, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for this idea.
I think my concern is that we've got a situation that we've seen with much larger homes in parts of the city of Toronto where you've got a basement that extends beneath the rear yard. And I understand the comment that was made that engineers have looked at the idea of, you've got 2 feet of soil, that there's some permeability, but that water has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's not going directly into the ground, but in fact has to be taken off somewhere else. And I don't know if this is a bit of a precedent because I've never seen a basement of this size. If the approval for the soft landscaping goes forward, then it allows for the basement presumably to also be constructed at some point. So I have a little...
Yeah, well, the basement will be constructed, right? I mean, that is what they're applying for. And so when I sort of consider this, I consider it from a perspective of hoping and trusting that the zoning examiner did their, found the variances that they were supposed to, because the other variances that, might come into play with the garden suite would be a separation distance from the main building to the garden suite. And that separation distance should be measured to the planter box, because that's where the garden suite main wall begins. I'm trusting that the zoning examiner
did the work.
Caught all of that, because if there were those other variances, then maybe there would be more of a question of how much encroachment this basement has. But because there are no other variances, that's part of what makes it, to me, supportable, is that they're not in an angular plane issue. They have, and perhaps that's why they've sunk in it, and they're not requesting additional height, which they would have if it was a 2-story, because garden suites are supposed to be 1, unlike laneway suites. And so I feel like they've done this for all of those reasons, and to me, why not approve? And then in terms of a precedent, I know that people like to come before us and show all the things that have been approved in the neighborhood, but the committee is not bound by precedent in that way. It's actually a common misunderstanding.
Okay.
So those are my reasons, but your mileage may vary. Should I put forward my motion now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so I'll move to approve it subject to forestry number 2.
Okay, Mr. Ghosh moves a motion to approve with forestry number 2. Do we have a seconder? Ms. Crawford, thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. You have your approval, sir. Thank you. All right. Item number 28 is 38 WOODYCREST Avenue. And the purpose of the application is to alter the existing 2 and 1/2 story detached dwelling by constructing a rear 2-story addition with rear ground floor deck with stairs and reconstructing front ground floor porch with stairs, also to construct a new 1-story detached ancillary building, 2-car garage in the rear yard, abutting the laneway. The committee had before it the following communication: copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 7 photographs of trees on the subject property, tree plan from the agent, email correspondence from Transportation Review, staff reports from Urban Forestry and Metrolinx, and we have a total of 2 form letters in support signed by owners and occupants of 36 WOODYCREST Avenue and 40 WOODYCREST Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online and no registered speakers.
Thank you. Okay. Tova, are you there?
Good afternoon. Yes, I'm here.
Hi, good afternoon. I wonder if we could get your name and address, please.
Yes, of course. Savim Jokovic. I'm the designer and owner's agent, and I am representing my clients at 38 WOODYCREST Avenue. Did you want my personal address or business address?
Whichever address you want to give us, as long as we can find you.
Sure. Let's go with 1174 Weston Road.
Thank you very much.
Our office address. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. We have before us, I think we've got a total of 9 variances. Let me just see if my colleagues have any questions for you or would like a presentation. Colleagues, any thoughts, any questions? I know there are 9 variances, but as I was looking through them, each one looked reasonably minor.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what your thoughts are.
Perhaps we get a very quick presentation. How would that be, Chair? Just so because
certainly.
there are 9 variances. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Did you hear that? We could just get a very brief presentation.
Sure, will do. Yeah. So in summary, our proposal is quite minor. We're actually rebuilding the existing 2-story rear addition. We want to make it slightly wider to match the width of the existing house. We're also rebuilding the existing front porch, maintaining the roof above. And we're adding a small deck / landing at the back, as well as a detached garage in the backyard. Probably the best plan to refer to here is the site plan. And you can see there at the back of the building in the light gray is the proposed addition. But you can kind of see in a dashed line the dotted line of the existing existing house. So whereas there's a side yard setback variance on the south side, the only reason that's triggered is because we're rebuilding what's there. We're actually allowed to match the existing side yard setback of 0.62 meters, whereas our proposed side yard setback is 0.54 meters. And that's sort of a technical reason there. The existing foundation wall is actually a little bit skewed because it is an older house. So we're just, slightly less than we would be allowed to build as per the side yard setback exemption bylaw 10-540-71. So the setback variance is minor. Let's talk about the FSI variance as well. So to my previous point, we're actually only adding 14.5 square meters because we're rebuilding the existing structure by and large. And our FSI is 0.77, whereas 0.6 is permitted. So that's just a minorly over the permitted maximum. So I think that's minor as well. Let's talk about the rear yard related variances next. We're proposing a small rear landing and deck in the backyard. Those have triggered side yard setback variances. I would just like to point out that the deck is quite shallow, only having a depth of only 1.17 meters. It's very low lying, being only 1.1 meters above grade. So I think that's quite a minor and normal proposal there. The detached rear yard garage has a coverage of 6.9%, whereas 5% is required. This variance is triggered because we're trying to add a 2-car garage to take parking off the street and put it within the garage. Like most of the garages off that lane in the neighborhood, it's built to match the width of the lot. So I think that excess of 1.9% is quite minor and in keeping with what's present in the neighborhood. The detached car garage also triggers a parking width variance. So the combined parking width is 5.4 meters, whereas 5.8 meters is required. Again, it still serves the functional purpose of 2 off-street parking spaces. Transportation Services has reviewed it and have no issues there either. So I think that's also minor.
Okay.
And of course, when you combine all those things together, we've triggered a rear yard landscaping variance. You can see here that the proposed rear yard landscaping is 41%, whereas 50% is required. Yes. Again, I think that's minor in that we're so slightly under the mark. I would also point out to the committee that if the lot was 4 inches narrower, only 25% of the rear yard would have to be landscaped. So I think that should be taken into consideration, right? Because we're at 6.1 meter frontage as opposed to 6 meters. I will like to point out too that we have made efforts to maximize the softscaping in the backyard, nonetheless, with the rather small deck, standard sized garage with having its length only that which is required to park a car. And we've kind of made the walkway narrow as well. Let's talk about the front yard variances next. As discussed previously, we're actually keeping the roof above the front porch, but we're rebuilding the frame deck itself. And for that reason, we've kind of triggered that technical side yard setback variance. But in essence, the condition is unchanged. And for that reason, I think that's minor in nature. Front yard landscaping. So we have 63.4% proposed, whereas 75% is required. Keep in mind, committee, it's a very small lot, and that only is 4 square meters under the requirement. We're essentially not changing the front yard very much. We're making the stairs slightly wider just to be a bit more comfortable. And same with the pathway. We're making it slightly wider to be more comfortable. You're probably familiar with those old walkways that are quite narrow. But nonetheless, we've hit the 63% front yard soft landscaping. So as you can see, there's a long list of variances, but they're all minor in nature. Nothing we're proposing here is unusual. It's all very standard, and it will definitely revitalize the home. So,
okay, thank you for that. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. As I said, there are 9, but each is quite minor. So thank you very much. Let's see if there are any other questions for you. None? Okay, we'll take it into committee and look for a decision.
Thank you.
Mr. Ghosh?
As you say, Mr. Chair, each variance, so there's 9 variances, but each variance taken on their own is small in numerical value and small in terms of impact. And I think the applicant did a good job of presenting what the proposal is. And if you take the renovation as a whole, it's a fairly modest addition that is in keeping with similar additions when finds in neighborhoods like these. So for those reasons, I find it approvable, and I would approve it subject to move to approve it subject to forestry number 2.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Ms. Crawford. All those in favor? Thank you. You have your approval, sir. Thank you. Okay, moving on to next item, 158 Madison Avenue. Purpose of the application is to permit the existing 2 1/2 story detached building, multi-tenant house, containing a total of 7 dwelling units. This building will be maintained and unaltered. The committee had before it the following communication: copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, elevations, 4 elevation photographs of the subject property, covering letter from the agent, email correspondence between the agent and heritage planning staff, construction arborist report, and we have one item in opposition from 146 Madison Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent here in person and no registered speakers.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. Second. Good morning. Good afternoon. If you could get your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Alexa Volkov. I'm here as the agent. My business address is 77 Bloor Street West, Suite 600.
Thank you very much. We won't need a presentation. Well, do we have the person going to be speaking? The person in opposition by any chance?
The agent has someone with them in support for questions if necessary.
But nobody in opposition?
That's correct. Nobody in opposition.
Thank you. So we'll need a presentation from that perspective, but perhaps my colleagues might like a presentation. I read the cover letter, which I think was very good. If not,
and I do have a presentation prepared. It was also submitted in advance. If you would like to see
let's
it.
see if my colleagues would like to have the presentation. Mr. McKay, would you like a presentation or not?
Well, perhaps just on the aspect of a multi-tenant house. I'm not so familiar with that, but I guess it's a defined term in the zoning bylaw. I wonder if the applicant can just speak to that.
Yeah, so I mean, multi-tenant house, I don't have the exact definition in front of me, also sometimes referred to as a rooming house, but multi-tenant house is the formal term that's used within the city's framework, refers to a dwelling where there's multiple people living in private rooms, but with shared communal space, such as washrooms, kitchen, living room, as is the case with this proposal.
Thanks for, no, I got that. Thanks. I didn't realize it. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Crawford?
And are there 7 people in there now? Are there 7 units?
So there is existing 7 dwelling rooms within the building as it exists today, yes.
So, I mean, the opposition spoke to 7 being an intensification, 6 that could be impactful on the neighborhood. Is that, can you speak to that?
Yeah, so if you wouldn't mind, if you would like to go to slide 6 in the presentation. So we have outlined, this variance satisfies the 4 tests. So again, just to be very clear, the variance is to permit the operation of the existing 7th dwelling room. It's not to permit the operation of the multi-tenant house as a whole, which the opposition letter, I believe, was under the impression that it was to permit the entire multi-tenant house, which is not the case. It's just for the operation of the 7th room. And there's no other changes proposed to the building or this site as part of this. As mentioned, the 7th dwelling room already exists. So the impact is overall very minor. Because that room already exists, there's no changes to the building, which means no changes to shadowing or privacy. And any impacts associated with the existence of a 7th room above and beyond the 6 rooms that are already permitted are minor. As is noted in the cover letter and elsewhere in the presentation, there is 24/7 on-site staffing. This property has good relations with the neighbors and has continued to and is ready to address any concerns that might come up. So there really are no concerns associated with traffic, noise, nuisance, or anything associated with the site. It is also the target population is not expected to own cars, so there's really no impacts associated with parking or traffic either.
Yep. I did look at the your cover letter and the information containing, and really the idea of using a seventh room is not a major issue at all. It's really an internal reorganization of use. Would that describe it? And I think the fact that this is Covenant House, I think it's quite an admirable use of space. So I certainly don't see any problem with this particular application. So if my colleagues don't have any other questions, we'll take it into committee and look for a decision.
Through the chair, perhaps for clarity, we should amend the purpose of the application then to make it clear that it is to permit the seventh dwelling room within the existing building, just to alleviate any confusion for the public.
Would that work from your perspective?
Yeah, I believe the stated writing of the variance itself, including in the zoning review that would have been submitted, does speak more to that. I think the overall summary of the purpose was maybe a bit more general. Again, I don't believe changing the summary of the purpose has any bearing on the actual permissions, so we wouldn't have any issue with that, no.
Okay. So
Well, through the chair, it's just more to have the purpose clearly match the variance and what is sought. So if the way the purpose is written right now implies that it is to permit the entire building rather than just the seventh dwelling unit, and then perhaps you may want to have that purpose amended to reflect that.
Yeah, no, we're of course happy to have it amended to reflect that, especially on any communications going out. Yes.
Any thoughts about what the wording would look like?
Well, through the chair, we could amend the purpose just to state to permit the existing seventh dwelling room within the existing 2 1/2 story detached building bracket multi-tenant house containing total of 7 dwelling rooms. This dwelling will be maintained and unaltered.
Sounds good to me.
good, yeah.
Bush? Yeah, Ms. Croft is good. Okay, thank you. So this would be an amended purpose. All right, we'll take it into committee and Ms. Crawford?
I would move to approve this application as amended in terms of the there's no evidence of negative impact. Covenant House has an excellent reputation helping youth at risk of homelessness. So it's an important purpose here without any worrisome intensification.
Your microphones. Thank you, Ms. Croft. But did we capture that by any chance, or would you like it to? Yep. Okay, great. Thank you, Ms. Crawford. Seconder, Ms. Ghosh.
Yes.
Thank you.
Happy to second, and just with the comment that for a period of time, I lived on Madison Avenue, and the idea that this is in any way not in keeping with the nature of Madison, which is an extremely mixed street, I think is false. So happy to second.
Thank you, and you're right. Mr. McKay, we have a motion on the floor to approve with no conditions as amended by Ms. Crawford, seconded by Mr. Ghosh. All those in favor?
Yes, I approve of that, yep.
Thank you. You have your approval. Thank you. Okay, item number 30. Item number 30 is 254 Coleridge Avenue. Purpose of the application to alter the existing 2-story detached dwelling by constructing a rear cantilevered second-story addition The existing enclosed front porch and the rear one-story ancillary building shed will be maintained and unaltered. Committee had before it the following communication: copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of the subject property, covering letter and presentations from the agent, staff report from urban forestry. And this application has 2 variances before us.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online and no registered speakers.
Thank you. Okay, item number 30, Mr. Nguyen, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Nguyen.
Yes, sir.
We don't have anybody in opposition, so we don't need a presentation from that perspective. But let me just ask my colleagues if they have any need for a presentation or have questions. None?
I do not, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McKay. None? Okay. Ms. Nguyen, we'll just take it into committee then. We don't have any questions or need for a presentation. We'll take it into committee and look for a decision. Okay. Who'd like to run with this one? Mr. McKay, any thoughts?
All right, Chair, yes, I've reviewed the 2 variances and considered them. I think that the tests are met here. So I see that there's an urban forestry condition number 2. So I would move approval of these 2 variances on Coleridge Avenue, subject to urban forestry condition number 2.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Mr. Ghosh, thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. Mr. Nguyen, you have a unanimous approval. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 31. Item number 31 is 40 Chester Avenue to alter the existing 2-story townhouse, purpose of the application to alter the existing 2-story townhouse dwelling by constructing a new rear stone patio with side north and south brick walls and side north, south, and rear west stairs. The existing rear ground floor wood deck with stairs will be demolished. Committee had before it the following communication: copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, elevations, 2 photographs of the subject property, a cover letter from the applicant. We have 10 form letters in support signed by owners and occupants of 32, 34, 36, 41, 48, 50, 54, 55, 57R, and 60 Chester Avenue. We also have correspondence in opposition from 44 Chester Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent here in person and no registered speakers.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. Hopefully we didn't make you wait too long. Your name and address, please, Simeon.
Okay, my name is Christine Simeon, and my address is 40 Chester Avenue.
Thank you. We have before us a single variance, and from all my perspective, it looks very, very minor. So I don't know what my colleagues have any questions for you or would like a presentation. Mr. McKay, any questions perhaps?
Yes, a quick question then. Just in terms of you said they're going to be brick walls, and they're right at the lot lines, and that's running back to the rear. Is that it? The sides are brick walls to this stone patio? Yeah.
Well, they'll fall under the 6 meter maximum. So, or whatever, sorry. They will not exceed 1.8 meters. Like, it's going to be a stone wall with an arch. The wall will be 1.52 meters, and then the arch will not exceed the 1.82. We haven't finalized that because we haven't got somebody who has told us how they're going to make the arch. So it might vary in that space.
If there's a sketch or a plan, that'd be helpful. I'm not quite sure that I'm grasping it in terms
Yeah,
of what
if you look at the proposed A1, the proposed deck,
Okay.
there is, it's just an arch on the wall, it says. So we don't have an.
Is that the piece that's on the south side of the site plan? Is a proposed barbecue and basically behind it, is that?
Behind it and
Yeah.
on the other side as well. You see there's a little kind of a dotted line, and then it just says arch on wall.
Oh,
So the actual brick wall will be 1.52 meters. And
In
then,
height there.
however the company can do it, we want an arch. It's hard to find people that'll do arches anymore.
All right, thank you. That's all for me. Yeah.
Any other questions or thoughts? None? Okay. We'll take it into committee and look for a decision for you. All right. Who'd like to run with this one? Mr. Ghosh, thank you.
Yeah, I see this as fairly straightforward. I think that's an interesting concept, and I considered the opposition letter, but didn't find it that compelling. And we see a lot of support here in the support letters as well. I see no reason not to allow a zero lot line to enable the deck to essentially have a condition that already exists to permit people to walk from the front to the back and to enable this type of landscaping. So I would move to approve it.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Ms. Crawford. All those in favor of this application? Thank you. You have a unanimous approval, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to item number 32. Item number 32 is, pardon me, 935 Kingston Road. And the purpose of the application is to alter the existing two-story mixed-use building by constructing rear one- and two-story additions. This building will contain commercial uses, veterinarian use occupying the basement level and the ground level, and one residential dwelling unit occupying the second floor. Committee had before it the following communication: copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 4 photographs of the subject property, covering letter from the agent, and a staff report from Transportation Review. Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online and no registered speakers.
Thank you. That was item number 32. Okay. Randall Dickey, are you there?
Yes, I am. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, good afternoon.
I'm just wondering, let me just see if my colleagues have any questions for you. There's nobody in opposition, so, and you do have just 2 variances that are being requested. Let me just see if anybody has any questions for you or would like a presentation.
Of course.
I don't see any. Okay, we'll take it.
Through the chair, sorry, to the applicant. In terms of the transportation review conditions that were provided, with respect to the conveyance of the land to the city, are you comfortable, confident to proceed that this will not, this condition, if imposed by the committee, should they seek to approve this application, that would not be triggering any new variances or impact your existing variances for this application?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I have reviewed the transportation comments with the architectural designer, and we are confident that the laneway conveyance, while we reluctantly agree with it, can be done so without triggering any further variances. It will not impact the 2 parking spaces off of the laneway. So we do accept the transportation comment or the conditions.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, we'll take it into committee and look for decision for you. Mr. Ghosh, thank you.
The variances being sought are quite small. Makes sense for an existing commercial building. And I think are approvable. The applicant has chosen to take the risk that additional variances could be triggered, and they're aware of that risk. So in the circumstance, I would move to approve it.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh.
Subject to the transportation conditions.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Oh, Ms. Crawford beat you, Mr. McKay. Thank you. Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. You have a unanimous approval, Mr. Dickey. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 33. Number 33 is 407 Carlton Street. To alter the existing 2 1/2 story townhouse by converting the attic into a habitable space and to construct a rear 3rd story addition with a balcony. The committee had before the following communication: copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 5 photographs of the subject property, a covering letter from the agent, tree protection plan, and we also have correspondence in support from 393 Carlton Street.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online and no registered speakers.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Smith. Are you there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Jay Smith, agent for the application. My address is 2493 Frankfield Road.
Thank you. Your application actually looks quite straightforward. What's being requested, from my perspective, seems minor. Essentially, you're converting the attic into a habitable space with a little balcony. So let me just see if my colleagues have any questions for you. I certainly don't. And if not, we'll take it into committee. Any questions for this gentleman? None? Mr. McKay, any questions?
No, thanks.
Thank
no
you.
question. Thanks.
Terrific. In which case, we'll take it into committee and look for a decision. Okay. Mr. Ghosh?
Do you want to? Given that it's in Cabbagetown, there's a heritage assessment as well, and they had heritage staff had no concerns. So typically they pick up on anything even minor, and these 2 variances to make the attic a usable space, and even with the bump out at the back, I think it's all a highly supportable small change to the home to make it more livable. And so I'd move to approve it.
That's good. Thank you very much. Okay, do we have a seconder? Ms. Crawford, thank you. Okay, and there are no conditions attached to this particular application. So all those in favor? Mr. Smith, you have a unanimous approval. Thank you. Moving on to item number 34, 164 COLBECK Street. And the purpose of the application is to alter the existing 2-story detached dwelling by constructing a front east 2-story addition abutting Evans Avenue. The existing enclosed front east porch will be demolished. Pardon me. The committee had before the following communication: copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, elevations, 5 photographs of trees on the subject property, email correspondence between the application technician and just the email correspondence between application and the zoning and examiner. Thank you.
For you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online and no registered speakers.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Dome, are you there?
Yes, Joe Dome, 133 Torresdale Avenue, agent for the owners.
Hi, good afternoon. Let me just see if my colleagues require any presentation from you or if they may have some questions for you. It looks fairly straightforward. You have 3 variances before us, and it's an alteration of an existing dwelling. Okay. Any questions or need for a presentation, Mr. McKay? Ms. Crawford?
No, thanks, Chair.
Oh, okay. Okay, if we don't have any questions or need for a presentation, perhaps we'll just take it into committee and look for a decision. Okay, who'd like to run? Ms. Crawford?
Yes, so there's 3 variances, and they are quite minor. The most significant is the setback in the front yard. And emails with the city confirm the front lot line is on the east, abutting Evans Avenue, where there's no neighbors, so there's no negative impact. And I would move for approval of this renovation.
Thank you very much, Ms. Crawford. Do we have a seconder, Mr. McKay? Thank you. Wonderful. All those in favor? You have Mr. Dome, you have a unanimous approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Just one more, Shnu.
Okay, item number 35, 1 MEIGHEN Avenue. Purpose of the application is to construct a new rear 1-story detached ancillary building containing 1 garden suite with a ground floor deck and stairs on the west side. There will be a total of 2 residential dwelling units on this lot, 1 unit within the main building and 1 unit within the ancillary building. The committee had before it the following communication: copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 5 photographs of the subject property received March 31st, 2026, tree protection plan. We also have staff reports from urban forestry, and we have correspondence in support from 67 MEIGHEN Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online and no registered speakers.
Thank you. Monsieur N, are you there?
Hello, yes.
Hi, good afternoon. Almost good evening, but thank you very much. We could just get your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Victoria Swan. I am the agent, and address is 53 Greenlaw Avenue.
Thank you very much. You have 2 variances before us, both of which seem reasonable. But let me ask my colleagues if anybody has any questions for you or require a presentation. Mr. Ghosh has a question, and Ms. Crawford have questions for you.
So there isn't much that I find concerning with this proposal, except I'd like you to address the urban forestry request for a deferral. I'm assuming you're not in favor of that, given that there's been no deferral request. Yeah, what's your position on that, and how do you plan on addressing urban forestry concerns?
Yes, we do not want to defer, but we will be in touch with urban forestry to obtain approval. Our plan is to go with helical pile foundations. So our plan is to work with forestry to ensure that the trees are kept and maintained, and that'll be our next step.
And so your intention is to, I guess, deal with that when you apply for the in-3 permits?
That's correct, yes.
Thanks.
Okay. Ms. Crawford?
Yeah, my question was to the same issue. They look like some pretty mature, beautiful silver maple trees there that urban forestry was concerned were going to be could potentially be damaged in this renovation. So it's just good to hear that they're working with urban forestry and planning to protect the trees.
Right. Yeah, and I think as the agent is aware that they'll have to work with urban forestry at the end of the day, and the notion of using helical piles, I think, makes a lot of sense. So that's good news. Okay. Mr. McKay, any questions? Any concerns?
Mine just related to the trees as well, so the colleagues have covered it. Yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, given that we've had those questions presented, we'll take it into committee and look for a decision. Okay, who'd like to run with this particular one? Mr. Ghosh?
Sure, happy to. I think this is a highly desirable development for the location. And then when I look at the variances, they're pretty small. The forestry concern was my concern. But I do think at the end of the day, what would happen if we defer is they would come back with an arborist report, and we would probably just approve it on the basis of that arborist report saying helical piles, given that they still have to satisfy urban forestry to get the injury, to get the permit to injure, and they'll still probably have to hire an arborist to satisfy them on that. I see no harm in just approving it so long as we tie it to the forestry condition number 2. But I agree, with Member Crawford, they're particularly impressive trees. So it is important, but I'll have faith that it gets dealt with through that process.
Would you like to turn that into a formal motion?
Sure, yeah, I'll turn that into a motion to approve subject to forestry condition number 2.
Thank you very much. We have a seconder, Ms. Crawford. Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. Ms. Sheehan, you have your approval, unanimous approval. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. And with that, we conclude at 5:33 p.m.
Great, thank you, members. Thank you, staff. Please shut off your videos and we'll mute the room. Thank you. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks.
Take care.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Drive carefully, Gary. Stay safe. Thank you.
Good advice.